We've been, God, just so you know, we've been live for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Have we?
I want you to know. No, I mean, I'm telling you.
Sam neglects to tell us
this
each
is
time.
every time. We've been live
And
for
we're
20
live.
minutes.
And where's it
Everything
going?
we've been talking about.
Yeah.
We've been live. Okay, so we're officially live. Today we have Adam Sauce on, and we got Gerardo Michaels on with us.
Si.
For some of you valuetainers, you may remember Gerard from back in the... You had a show called what? Before They Were?
Before they were billionaires.
Before They Were Billionaires.
Before they were billionaires.
That was you?
Before They Were
Yes,
Billionaires.
before
That
they were
was
billionaires.
Gerard and...
Yesterday, you had a line in your comedy show. We all want to see him do stand-up comedy.
How was it?
Funny guy. Some awkward moments. Some good, some high moments.
So
I'm gonna call it like it is. But he said you might recognize me as the guy, as if Jason Momoa ate Jason Momoa.
That's right.
That was probably your biggest laugh right there.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was
Great.
It's the truth. Yeah, it's like if Chum Lee was on Game of Thrones. That's the vibe I'm going for. And you know, man, it's not often that I am not the best looking person at a table. And that continues today. So I'd like to thank you.
You're
for
on the
having me
tradition,
today.
though, man.
Yeah.
You're on the roll. But, you know, it's funny. If you don't know Gerard, I've had a chance to spend a lot of time with Gerard. Gerard, you're like one of those weird combinations of a guy who's creative and extremely brilliant and strong opinions all put together combined. That's Gerard. With a lineage that's a very interesting lineage, and your experience having worked in, you know, writing for Wendy Williams, done stuff on Hollywood, done stand-up comedy for God knows how long, and at the same time working on Chris Christie's campaign in Jersey. Yep. Your resume is a very weird resume with what you've done.
I've got it all except portion control, brother. I'm nailing it, man.
There you go. But you're working on it. The portion control, we're working on it. We're working on it. Last night, we were up till, I don't know what time we were up, 12:30, which, folks, I have to tell you this, it was a very emotional moment. Hey, Kai, can you do me a favor and pull up my Instagram stories from yesterday? This is actually, you know, very impressive. I'm going to give you a couple of them. First one I'm going to give you is, if you haven't seen what, you know, Uncle... our friend here, Uncle Adam, has become a bad influence on my kids, and it's starting to really piss me off. Kai, I'm going to send this thing to you. Prepare the first one, and then we're going to show Kai. We're going to let me know if you accepted it or not. This is what's happened ever since Adam. We're in Dallas at the Cowboy Stadium, and I told, you know, Adam, look over Dylan a little bit for me because I'm running 2,500 people here, an event. And he's sitting there showing Dylan clips of Will Ferrell. Let the boy watch, okay? So this is my daughter. I come home, spending time with her. Yep. This is what she's saying. Check this out.
Let the boy watch.
What'd you say?
Let the boy watch.
I'm sorry, where did you learn that from?
Let the boy watch.
Good boy. Watch.
And by the way, what's so awesome about this, it is her birthday today.
Get out of here.
Senna's
birthday.
5 years old. Senna, my baby is 5 today.
Birthday, Senna.
We got a date night tonight. We always look forward to these date nights that we have. I got a surprise for her. We go out, we have a good time. She dresses up, and this is why I'm dressed up right now. I'm not dressed up for you or you, just so you know that.
Good.
I'm dressed up for Senna. I just want you to know this.
You are dressed up today.
I am dressed up for Senna because when we go out and we go on our date night, we go, they bring the food. She'll have her dessert. We'll have our conversation. I open the door for her. It's a real unique experience, but she's 5 today.
Well, this is the 1 year anniversary of when you surprised her with that Barbie car.
With that Barbie, and she's just jumping up all over the place.
There's not a lot of people with a $10,000 suit walking into Chuck E. Cheese in Deerfield Beach, but I mean,
for her, I will do it, though. For her, I will do it. But here's what happened last night. You know, we're at the house. What time would you say it is? What time did we wrap up last night?
12?
1 o'clock.
12:30.
Yeah, it's late. And when we're wrapping up, okay, we're having some cigars from a friend, Daniel Cleland, that brought from Costa Rica. I think it was Nicaraguan cigar, which was, by the way, phenomenal.
It was really good.
Very good. And then you leave in your car. Everybody like grown, you know.
Like adults.
Like adults, you get in your car
that's
and you
right.
leave,
Everybody
like any
does.
normal
Seriously,
adults.
I agree with you.
Of course. Who
and
doesn't
then,
leave in their
this
car?
is what happens with our friend here. Can you pull up that story, Kai, if you have it? Just show the story and go to the main one. Do you need to log in to show it or no?
Unbelievable.
All right, let me send this to you here, buddy, if you don't have it. It's 12:30. Everyone's leaving. This is our buddy here. Let me send this to you. Oh, I got it right here. So, Kai, airdrop coming your way. Accept it. Show it to us. Can you guess who? Can you guess who left on a bike last night
On a
12:30.
motorbike? What kind of bike? Harley?
I'm talking about like a legit old school gangster mafioso bike.
Kind of like a Ducati?
No,
what kind of bike was it?
No. A bicycle.
A bicycle? Who in the
right mind would do that?
Yes.
You look like Tyrese and Baby Boy.
Watch this. Play it.
So everybody's got their cars here, you know, they're driving their cars, they're about to go home. And hang on, I got to show you the surprise here. And our buddy here,
Who's that guy?
that's his Mercedes.
That's me.
Look at that guy with his lights
Look
on.
at that guy. Gangster.
By the way, do you realize in LA what kind of folks ride bicycles like that?
The cholos.
Only the cholos.
That's how we do it.
You were riding
Miami,
like
that's what we
a
did.
cholo.
Yeah.
Okay, elbows up,
Shout out to the
Side to
cholo
side to
community.
side, elbows up and side
I
to
learned
side.
from my boy Ricky Aguilar. Shout out to Ricky.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
And we timed. You said you timed it. You said it took you 7 minutes.
It took 6 minutes, but I had to park the
Stop it.
bike.
Stop it.
How far do you think I live from you?
Gas is expensive.
By the way,
Pat.
Pat
Gas
lives
is
in the-
save that money.
No, we live 200 yards.
Shout out.
We live 200 yards away.
No,
from
not
it.
200 yards.
200
1 mile.
yards if we go.
1 mile.
If you swim
1 mile.
across. If you swim
If you
across.
swim across.
Yeah.
But I bike. I'm a
200
biker.
yards and 2 commas
biker.
away.
Yeah,
200
that's-
yards and 2 commas.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that Greg Denker was like, "Oh, you rode your bike. What kind of bike? You got a Harley? What do you?" I'm like, "It's a."
No, you're like, I got a Harley. I got a Harley parked outside
It's a
without
cruiser.
an engine.
Honestly, it wasn't even the funniest thing that happened. The funniest thing that happened is all your neighbors saw this motley crew come outside and thought that they were about to get robbed.
And
You saw the people looking through the thing.
Nobody looked like they should have hung out with each other.
Oh, no.
Like there is nothing about the group. Like there was not a single level of consistency. You know, they all look the same. They all dress the same. They all have the same accent. There was nothing consistent about the group last night, which what makes it
It's
kind
like
of
the
unique.
United Nations.
That's
of,
right.
It's what it
immigrants
was.
at
Yeah.
The only
BBD's
thing
backyard.
that was consistent was that your neighbors didn't want us outside at 12:30 in the morning. That was the only consistent-
You're a cigar guy.
I am, yeah.
You smoked a
Yeah.
cigar.
I've been highly influenced by a friend called Matt Sapala.
Sapala,
He
yeah.
has majorly influenced me to smoke
Yes.
cigars.
I agree.
Bad influence. Bad influence.
But
But
he
the-
does a lot of good influencing, except
and a
for when it
major,
comes to
by the
cigars.
way, just so you know, one of my favorite things about business, just a side note, I love when we go out there and build. I love building businesses, but I
Mm-hmm.
love even more when we win, and everybody wins. Something very big happened today. I'm going to announce to our guys. They're very excited about it. I'm gonna
Yeah, I walked in. I don't want to. I don't want to
you
ruin the
were-
surprise. That's
yeah,
not.
you were seeing me
but
cutting
was-
some checks that were
Yes.
some, nice size checks that were being
Yeah.
cut this morning, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, when Ian flies in, the CFO, there's a meeting going
Yes.
on late night for meeting today. It was a very big meeting.
Ian pops in, cuts some
Out of
checks,
nowhere,
and then
looking
gives
like
the
Brad
deuces
Pitt
sign.
hair, and he
He's a
comes in
good-looking
with
guy.
7 a.m. I'm at the
Yeah.
office doing stuff, and we wrapped up last night at 12:30. It's been a wild last 12 hours. But good things are
Are
happening.
you
Anyways,
gonna tell us, or you're gonna tease
I
us?
can't
How
tell
many
you
hours
yet.
a night
Tell
do
or
you
tease,
sleep?
baby.
How many hours a night do I sleep?
I mean, I'm serious.
How many hours do you think I slept last night? Like 8.5 hours, 9 hours. I slept at least 8 hours last night.
Yeah, my ass.
We were at your house 7 hours ago. What?
Gerard's opening line was, "We got a podcast in an hour. What are we talking
What are we
about?"
doing? Good to see you guys. I feel like I
my
took a
gosh.
break.
I'm a 4 to 6. And I get my 7 on my Saturdays. I'm a 4 to 6, and I get my
Yeah.
7 to
You
8
sleep
on my
4
Saturdays.
hours a night.
4 to 6.
I love when we engage with the audience.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite thing. Even though there's some hate out there for the Soyboy Mafia,
Yeah.
there is some love. I'd love to know how much our audience sleeps. Are you a 4 to 6 guy, gal? Are you a 6 to 8?
Tell us. First of all, what are you? What are everybody wants to know? What are you?
I'm a 7.5.
You're a 7.5. Gerard,
Yeah.
what are you?
Yeah, like I like to get my 8 in.
You like to
I
get
like
your
to
8
get
in.
my 8 in. Now I feel like I'm slacking over here, man. I'm doubling up on sleep over
Lose
here.
an hour of that.
Yeah, I have friends that only sleep 4 hours a night too, but they mostly sleep under a bridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are different. Well, I
Lamar Odom, Artie Lange.
wow, you went there. You went Lamar Odom. You went Lamar Odom. Artie looks so different, man. When you look at Artie, I mean,
Artie looks horrible.
yeah, it's a sad
We
situation.
pull up a
when you
picture of
see
Artie
it.
Lange.
What
Kai?
a great dude and a brilliant mind too.
Yeah,
and it's just
to be able to tell stories and the way you think, the way he thinks, like
he's he wrote Black Sheep, right? Like the Chris Farley movie that was Artie Lange.
Great.
wrote
That was a politician. Oh God, look at that nose though. What? That's cocaine, ladies and gentlemen.
That is
cocaine.
not paying people you owe a lot of money to. That's not. Yeah.
Oh, you think he's getting roughed up?
Oh yeah.
You think someone literally broke his
wow.
face in?
Yes.
That nose is.
He don't
not
look like that
attractive.
anymore. He's better. Artie's better.
Where's he
This
now?
I mean, this is the worst part about the internet, though. The worst part about the internet
The
is
worst pictures are
wherever you
ending.
are.
Yeah.
That's
Actually looks somewhat decent.
Nah,
right there.
he's cleaned up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Is
should
that him
dude,
today? Is that because he looks
dude,
good if that's him today?
Artie's doing good, man.
Go on that. Click
Artie's
on
doing
that.
Good. he's got himself like a little life coach and stuff. Artie's a good dude, man.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
Good to see that happening to the guy.
Shout out to my boy Artie.
PBD,
Lange.
Yes.
We talked about this last night before we get into the business stories. I know there's a lot we got to cover. Gerard kind of said, peel back the curtain a little bit. Let people backstage. So what do you enjoy about inviting people over to your house, smoking cigars, having, communication breakdowns?
Listen,
what do you enjoy about that?
I'm very when it comes down to spending money on food, I don't hold back. I love very
That's
good
true.
food.
That's true.
I'm
I
a
always say thank
foodie
you.
at the. You always say thank you.
I got an anecdotal story about that. When we were out in L.A., we were pitching with the agencies and stuff like that. You took us out to lunch, if you remember correctly. You took us.
We went to Crustaceans, and we had a cigar tuna.
How
many of them did we order, by
You
the way?
ordered 10. And they were the best thing I've ever had in my life. And I went to the
He
bathroom.
lectures me afterwards.
I went to the bathroom, and as I'm going to the bathroom, you know how they have like the menu like up on the wall? I look at the wall and I see the price of them. I go back. I was like, I need to renegotiate my rate with you, bro. Like,
this guy's
dude-
constantly looking to
Dude,
renegotiate.
Listen, that's right. Last night as well.
Hey, I got to renegotiate. Hey, by the way,
I was like, yo,
All right,
I wanted to like, I felt so
But
bad.
tell me
I
how
felt so-
delicious
It was
was
unreal.
that?
And
It was
it was part of
unreal.
like a 10-course
It was
sushi meal.
unreal.
That
we
was-
had at
that was
Crustaceans.
the-
back to what you're saying.
best
You like,
sushi I've
you
ever
like,
had.
you
I
like
like
to
the
entertain.
food. I
you
like to
food.
entertain. I like relationships. I like conversations. I like the, finer things in life. I like that. I like a lot of that stuff. I'll be making some announcements here probably in the
What
next
kind of
couple
watch you
weeks.
got going on right there, bro?
I got a what is this? A day date. I got this
that a
in
Timex?
France. It's a Timex day date Rolex presidential watch.
Oh, that's a nice watch. I might need to renegotiate my deal. I don't know. Stick to a nice suit.
Listen,
stick
moving
with me,
forward,
kid.
I'm only wearing
Yeah.
fossil watches.
Yes.
Moving forward, okay? Give me a fossil watch used off eBay to come in and do these shows
Okay.
with a ripped shirt. Anyways, couple things for everybody that's listening. Steve gave $100.
Oh,
Steve,
yeah.
our friend Steve. Steve made a name for himself on the last one. Him and Anas.
Steve from IDF?
Gave another Steve Levitz.
From IDF.
From
Israeli
IDF.
Defense
That's right.
Forces.
Yes.
Shout out
Happy
to Steve
birthday,
and
Senna. God
Anad.
bless you. This is a gift from Uncle
Yes.
Steve. Wishing you a life of happiness and health. Steve, we love you. We enjoyed having you on last time, man. It was good stuff. But a couple things.
Yes.
Let me set the tone for everybody. Here's what we did in the last podcast. A lot of you messaged me. I think we gave away like $2,000 on the last one. Last time, people were giving super chats. And it could be anything, a question that we go to, maybe a debate. Maybe we get two people to call in today and debate another topic, whatever the topic may be. If you got strong opinions about something we talk about today as a topic and you want to get on and debate it and you want to be respectable, like Anas and Steve were, we may call you in, but any super chat, if you give $10, $5, $100, if I like what you're saying, commentary, story, we may give you 10 times back what you gave to us. So that happened last time. Last time, I think on $200, we returned $2,000. We're going to do it again today.
We're 10xing super chats, is what you're
Not
saying.
all super chats, the ones we choose.
The ones we
last time
choose,
we
the
had
ones we choose, yeah.
Last time we gave 8 people 10 times back, whatever super chat. I think one lady got 20 times back on a super chat that she gave yesterday.
Because you liked her story.
I like her
You said,
story.
I
what
like
she
it so
said.
much, I'm usually giving 10
exactly.
times. I'm giving you 20
times. Yeah, we're doing that today as well.
That's
However,
awesome.
here's the other part. If you're listening, here's what we want to do. Anybody, if you're a designer, or if you know somebody that's a designer, your son is, your daughter is, your brother, sister, coworker, anybody who's a developer, designer, creative, we are looking for a logo for PBD Podcast. And if you design your logo for PBD Podcast, you send it to me on Twitter, hashtag PBD Podcast, at Patrick Bet-David. Whoever we choose, we may even on the next podcast show the different logos. People may vote for it, and whoever wins, I'm going to give you $500 if we end up using your logo for PBD Podcast. So we're crowdsourcing, and we want the audience to be involved. Either if it's yourself or somebody else, share this with that person, or send us your logo on what we should use for PBD Podcast. We're open to it. Having said that, let's get right into it.
Before we get into the stories,
Yes.
can I give a quick shout out? I've never done this, but I received a nice message from a young man. It's his 22nd birthday today. He's from my favorite country in the world.
Here we go. Croatia.
Djibouti.
He's not from Djibouti.
He's from Djibouti.
He's not from
and now
Djibouti.
He messaged me. He said, I'm from Djibouti, your country. Now he lives in Toronto. His name is Yassine Hassan. He said, you're probably not going to see this message, but I love the podcast.
You're
I love
giving him a
PBD.
shout out.
Please give me a
That's
shout out
so
on my
awesome,
22nd
man.
birthday. I saw the message. I saw he's from Djibouti. And
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday to Yassine. I hope I'm saying his name right.
From Djibouti. Yassine,
Yes.
here's what we want you to do. We want you to go and do some citizen journalism.
Yeah,
I want you to go to that Chinese military base and tell us what it looks like. Because it's the only Chinese foreign military base in Djibouti. Tell us what it looks like. We're actually curious. Send us a video. If you actually can't get it, send us a video what that place looks like. And by the way, just do it if you're can be safe. We don't want any challenges you're going to have.
Yeah, that's
don't
no
go do it if you're going to have any kind of challenge. But yes, happy birthday to Yassin from Djibouti.
And if you take a picture of that base, it'll be your last birthday. So
could
enjoy
could possibly be.
If you don't get a picture of the base, you better bring us some of that booty pics.
The interview went out today with Mike Baker, former CIA agent of, 17, 20 years. It went out today, and in the interview, guess what country he talks about? Djibouti. No joke. It's officially, it's a great name, by the way.
How could you not love the booty?
Especially yourself.
Of course.
I can totally.
And even our friend Eric Galera, he's all about Djibouti.
Yeah, you guys, maybe you ought to pay a visit. You ought to pay a visit.
Maybe a little bit more sleep next time.
Yeah, at least the 8 hours.
Yes.
At least the 8 hours.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so let's go into Ray Dalio's story first. I have some Bitcoin. Page 2. So Ray Dalio finally says, I have some Bitcoin. This is a CoinDesk story. Concerns about a looming global debt crisis have taken the world's top hedge fund manager from doubting Bitcoin to dabbling in it. Ray Dalio said the U.S. dollar is on the verge of devaluation on a level last seen in 1971, and that China has threatened the greenback's role as the world's reserve currency. In such an environment, Bitcoin, with its gold-like properties, looks increasingly attractive as a savings vehicle, said Dalio, out of all the people whose firm started 2021 with $10.9 billion in assets under management, making it the world's largest hedge fund, $101 billion in management. My apologies, not 10.1, $101 billion under management. And he said, I have some Bitcoin. Dalio volunteered in the middle of an interview with CoinDesk Chief Content Officer Michael Casey. Dalio's off-the-cuff remark to CoinDesk about owning some Bitcoin represents the closest thing to an endorsement from him to date. Nonetheless, in the same conversation, he reiterated his concern that governments fearing competition from Bitcoin to state monetary system could crack down on its owners. Bitcoin's greatest risk is its success. Dalio cautioned. Gerard, thoughts?
Oh, man, who am I to doubt Ray Dalio? But if the governments could have done anything about Bitcoin, they would have done it already.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so?
Absolutely.
So you think if they could have, they would have already done it? That's your position on it?
Yeah, the more I'm huge into crypto. I'm massive into crypto. I'm a big fan. I got into it about 4 or 5 years ago. And I got to give a shout out, a plug to my Antagonistic America podcast. I had a crypto expert, one of the very first miners in America, Eric Gallison, on.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me blockchain and exactly what it would take to actually mess with Bitcoin at this point. With over 100 million users worldwide, somebody would have to hack into over 51 million different individual servers across nations. It would take
for that to take place.
It would take like a worldwide government. Like the only way like Bitcoin could possibly be defrauded essentially, or really Ethereum even more so, that could possibly be defrauded would be if, let's say, China ends up winning the world and they take over the entire world. And then they'd be able to go and get each of those 100+ million servers. And that would individually have to do that. And that would assume that then they took control of all of the satellites. They have all the cloud space. It's a functional impossibility, really, to do it. I know your boy Dan Pena may disagree with this, but I am all in on the crypto future. And I think it's not really what the banks say. Look at what the banks have done over the last 6 months. Look at how they've entered. They have ETFs. They're doing crypto buys in their hedges and stuff like that now. Don't worry about what they say. Worry about what they do. And Ray Dalio says, I have some Bitcoin. I bet you that sum is a
When he says sum,
number.
what do you think that sum is? He says, I have some Bitcoin. How much do you think sum is to Ray Dalio? He's worth 20 plus
he's
billion.
the kind of guy that says some Bitcoin. He might have $10 million of Bitcoin. That's some Bitcoin to Ray Dalio.
So you think it's a $10 million number?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
What do you think sum is to him? A guy worth 20, what is sum?
I think it's an ever increasing amount. Let me put it that
so
way.
it is. Do you think it's more or less than 10 million?
More
than 10 million. More than 50?
No,
okay, so around 10 or 50
no.
million dollars is what you're
It might
thinking.
not even be 10 million.
What's 1% of his net worth?
First of all, if somebody wanted to go find out how much Bitcoin he has, somebody could actually dig in and find out how much Bitcoin the guy's got.
Did you see that BuzzFeed found Joe Biden's Venmo, speaking of?
BuzzFeed found Joe Biden's Venmo?
Not to get off topic here.
But let's get off topic.
It took BuzzFeed, the gender studies majors at BuzzFeed, 10 minutes to find our president's Venmo account and his 150 friends.
How much was in it? What was the deal?
It was a public Venmo account, and and it had the people who was paying him and who wasn't. And then they asked the White House to comment, and they took it down. They took his, so it was his. Like, could you, if these people? Right?
Wow.
So again, we're talking about worried about Bitcoin. Well, the governments are going to manipulate Bitcoin. Well, why don't you worry about the president of the United States as a public Venmo that you know?
He's sloppy.
Yeah,
he's sloppy. So
that a Starbucks barista
Biden.
found.
Back to you. You don't think the government is going to come in and try to regulate?
I think they've tried
the Bitcoin at all. You think it's done?
I think they've tried.
You out of your mind, Gerard Michaels.
How do you regulate an international currency? How do you regulate?
They'll figure it out. Believe me.
They're trying. They can't.
So that's it. They're done. You said that they're not going to regulate anymore, and it's over.
You can't beat them, buy them. They're gonna tie into it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So for me, if you think about it, here's Ray Dalio. If you're saying they can't, I've been saying the same thing for years about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. I've been saying the same thing. I'm saying technology, great. It's going in that direction. Phenomenal. There's nothing you can do about it. That's here to stay.
And I will never bet against the private sector on the government's behalf.
I get that, but I will also never bet against the government sector to want to regulate anything they can get their hands on.
I agree.
Anything they can get their hands on. And the way they do it is they can do it through if they want to control, like right now, for example, one of the things that's coming up right now is the fact that how Biden's talking about we shouldn't be driving all cars that are gas. Mm-hmm. Gas cars, right?
So 460 gas in California when you sent me out there?
Exactly. So 460 gas per gallon when you go to California. And this was just, a couple days ago, 3 days ago, right? So for them, you know what the government can do if they really wanted to? Can they raise taxes to raise gas to $10 a gallon? Can they do that?
They might.
Government?
Can the government do that?
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to, yeah.
Can the government do that?
They can restrict supply.
They can restrict supply. What else can they do? What else can they do?
Taxes?
They can raise taxes. What else can they do? The government can dictate which way you spend your money. You have to look at taxes and the government as a compensation plan. Whatever way they adjust the compensation plan, we as consumers, we as citizens, we respond to whatever tax plan they come up with. Okay, so if they don't want us to go out there and spend money buying gas because they want us to drive electrical cars, you know, they can increase it to $10 a gallon. Mm-hmm. Then what happens? Behavior changes. So regulating Bitcoin or cryptocurrency isn't saying we're watching you. They can add the dumbest taxes on it to do whatever they can to control it. Their way of regulating isn't the same as regulating other products. We're not talking about like, you know, back in the days, Joseph Kennedy said, hey, you guys are selling stocks, you guys are selling mutual funds, here's what we're doing. FDR brings Joseph Kennedy because Joseph Kennedy is the one that manipulated the market, the great whole, you know, the whole 1929 crash that took place. He says, I want you to come and help me out here. He says, you know what, here's what we're going to be doing. Moving forward, anybody that wants to sell any kind of securities and you're touching cash, you got to do fingerprints. What are you talking about? You guys got to drive down. People drove down to New York to get fingerprinting to be able to sell stocks and bonds and mutual funds, right? Back in the days. You know, people are still doing fingerprinting today. No one's touching cash. But if you get securities license, you still got to do fingerprinting. This isn't about the kind of regulation that maybe you're thinking about. I think the regulation that they could do is very creative. One could be heavy-duty taxes. It's just a thought.
It just depends on what. Like, for instance, is it a security? Is it a currency? Is it a store of value? Is it a commodity? Whatever category it's going to fall in, it's going to get regulated by something, whether it's the SEC or FINRA, whoever regulates commodities. Like,
to that point,
for you to say that they're not going to do any regulation ever,
that's not what I said.
I think
I want to be very clear.
Wrong side of the coin.
I want to be very clear. That's not what I'm saying. I agree with both of you that they are going to try. They have been trying. Part of this capital gains increase is specific to crypto earnings. But there's first of all, the retail investor is not in crypto deep. Less than 1% of the population owns crypto right now. And look at the valuation. Again, it's only 10 years in. Look at the value of this. It has no tangible value yet. You're not buying things. You're not using things on an everyday. And look at the price. So in 10 years, when 5% of the population has crypto and you're able to go into a store and use it, think of what the price is going to be. So if they want to do sales tax on crypto, once it's a tangible currency, I can understand that they're going to try to get their bite. But they're doing that now. They're trying to do it through capital gains. And what's happened is a secondary market has popped up. Real smart people aren't selling their crypto and taking that capital gains loss.
That's right.
We're taking loans off of crypto.
Pompliano said that. Pompliano said most crypto guys, they don't sell. They keep 90% of the guys, they're not selling.
Because that's when you pay your taxes on it.
Of course, capital gains.
I take loans off of my crypto. So there's a secondary exchange where you can literally put your crypto in, and then you take a loan off your crypto and you pay it back and you keep your crypto. So I'm able to extract value for it while keeping it, right? And I don't pay the capital gains on that. That's a secondary market that evolved. You have people in this particular industry who created this product specifically to circumvent regulation, specifically to circumvent federal and international overreach. So part of the reason I love crypto so much is it is more than a tangible. Blockchain is the future of technology. When you talk about Ethereum, don't think of Ethereum as a coin or as a token. Think of it as the World Wide Web in 1980. It's a blockchain, a system of how you're going to create interaction, social interaction, business interaction. It's an infrastructure, right? And I don't want to get like
what is starting to happen though is Ethereum's starting to get more momentum than like amongst a lot of experts. People are highlighting what Ethereum does that's a lot more advanced technology-wise and usage-wise long-term than Bitcoin.
Long-term, you think an Ethereum could
I'm not saying. I'm just saying what experts are saying.
Look at what you have to look at what you have to do to close on your house. Everything that you talked about, the days that what you have to do, the money in escrow, the payments that you have to make, the proof of purchase that you have to have, then the documents that you have to sign. All of that now becomes one token with Ethereum. You pay for a house with Ethereum, and the contract is on the token. It's all there. So it doesn't seem like a lot to people, but what's a day of your time worth at this point? What is your worth in a day? So if Ethereum can save you an entire day, what is that worth to you? As opposed to traditional signing of documents, and then who knows, could this be forged? I mean, this is antiquated. We're horse and buggy right now. This is analog. Ethereum is the future, man. Like there's so much beyond the speculative investing. It's fun, it's gambling, it's cool, and it's new. But the technology is game breaking.
But I'm going to tell you something here. So here's the real argument when you think about this. The fact that Dalio is saying it, I think Dalio is hedging himself. On one end, he's saying this could happen, regulation could take place. On the other hand, he's saying it could not happen. Meaning, if it's not going to happen, guess what? I'm going to also buy some. It's like buying a put or a call. You're buying like options against, you're kind of leveraging whatever you're buying to protect yourself, a stop loss, whatever maybe. You're playing both sides. But by the way, never has Dalio come up and said he's playing both sides. He's just never said that. No. So the fact that a guy as brilliant as him, I've sat down with him, I've had great conversations with him, the guy as brilliant as him to say, I have some Bitcoin, he's not saying that without some motive behind it for his investors to be paying attention. He knows it's going to be written about in every other paper. So there's a hint he's given.
He waited until it was half price. He bought enough of it.
I think he's smart for doing it. But I will tell you this other part. This other thing to be thinking about with the Wall Street bets. Look at Wall Street bets, right? They went up against who? Everybody.
Against the hedge funds.
Everybody. And they ruined a lot of these guys.
Melvin Capital specifically.
Destroyed them. $2.75 billion. That was a
$7 billion, I think.
It's a massive number to the point where they had to go borrow money from each other.
And they closed all their short positions.
So to me, the community of Wall Street bets is the crypto community, okay? And the government, the regulators, the Janet Yellens of the world, those Elizabeth Warrens of the world, they're these big hedge fund managers that Wall Street bets went up against. You have to know that when that took place, thanks, babe. When that took place, you have to know, not you, babe, thanks to my wife. I know that sounds weird. Sam is walking away. He just called me babe. My wife gave it to you, you gave it to me. So thanks, babe, /Sam, okay?
Thanks, babe.
So Sam walked away, St. Pat called me babe. But
HR.
But the way I see it is, these billionaires, they have to make one phone call, and they just have to say, I just want you to know, remember that campaign I gave you? What was that all about? You can't let this happen again. So that part, you think
don't understand the tech. I really don't.
You think crony capitalism is going away anytime soon?
No, I know, but it's specifically. You're right, but this stuff is specifically set up to counteract.
Oh,
that.
I get that.
So this could be ageism. And these are some of the smartest people in the world. Don't get me wrong. But they don't understand the technology.
I don't disagree with you.
Warren Buffett has straight up said, I don't invest what I don't understand.
That's even more of a reason why I believe scares the hell out of them.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't get it.
The fact that it scares the hell out of them, they're like, hey, listen, this is too much. Slow it down. What do we need to do? Hey, you know what? What is the card we can always pull on? Regulation. Put some regulation on it. Go out there and regulate them.
You know what this is right here?
What's that?
Time, baby. It's undefeated. They can be as rich as they want. Their time's running out.
It's not time, though. Listen. There are certain. Okay, so I was in a health insurance business 18 years ago, 19 years ago, selling health net, selling Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Okay, and health insurance is actually good business to be a part of 20 years ago. Here's how it works. So if let's just say you have a book of business. There was guys that was making $500,000 a year golfing 5 days a week. Why? Because once you build a block of business, you were making 10% every month off the premium. So if you're paying $1,000 a month for your family's premium, guess what? I'm making what? $100. But it's $100 every month. So 10 years later, you build a block of business, you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 every single month. And then comes out what? Obamacare. When Obamacare comes out, guess what happens? Obamacare now says, here's what we're doing. Here's the plans that we have. And then you have free enterprise competing against the government, right, for contracts. They can do whatever they can to make new laws and regulations to hurt everybody else. When you directly compete with the government has a card you don't have. That card is, we create the rules. You play by our rules. And the government, what they specifically don't like is the following. They don't like people like Elon Musk. They don't like people like Trump. They don't like the crypto community. You know why? Because they're going like this saying, hey, screw you. And they don't like when people say, screw you. They like when people say, we need you. World wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, the Hunger Games syndrome. You're so bound down to you. So the crypto community is not bound down to anybody.
Yeah, some dogs like their leash. For sure.
So that's that part. Anyways, we'll see what's going to happen here.
And to wrap this up to put a bow on this with our friend Dalio, he came out, what was a famous thing that he said in Davos, Switzerland, a year and a half ago, right before Corona hit. He goes, cash is trash. Get the hell out of cash.
Yeah, he did say that.
So I would not be surprised if he, diversified his investments and got out of cash and bought some crypto or some Bitcoin, even though he might not be a firm believer in it. We know that he's not a believer in necessarily cash. And that timing couldn't have come worse for him, by the way.
I agree. Right. I agree. By the way, Felipe Congote, who just gave $24.99, he says, Pat, it's my birthday today. Hope your daughter has a special day. God bless America. Valuetainment for life with a nice little flex. Felipe, happy birthday to you. We're giving you 10 times back what you gave us, $250 to you. Happy birthday. Anyways, we're watching everything else. Keep going with the super chat, folks. And if there's any topic we talk about and you want to debate somebody on it and a couple of you guys can agree, we may bring you on here for having a 5, 10, 15-minute conversation together while the rest of us listen to you, if there is
you see this,
something there. What's
this
that?
Super chat by Best Hoops. He goes, 16-year-old kids are becoming Dogecoin millionaires.
Yep.
And my boss just asked me to work this weekend.
To the moon, baby. Yeah, so the moon.
That right there just shows me what a fraud Dogecoin is. And some of crypto is. That's a 16-year-old kids are just buying Dogecoin.
What do you have to say about that? What he just said?
That's a freaking fraud right there.
Dude, you just woke up Gerard Michael.
Good. I want him to be woke up.
Gerardo.
Are you a big Dogecoin guy?
Look, Doge is a joke, but at some point, you have to. Pet Rock made how much money? So I mean, we can sit here and we can. I mean, what is
okay? But
what's Mr. Potato Head? What is the actual function? You're such a utilitarian.
We're going to Mr. Potato Head.
Everything can't be utility in this world, man. If the market moves in a direction, you have to respect the people.
No, at the end of the day, if it's a rock and someone's like, it's a pet rock, you could keep it in bed with you. You could take it on a walk.
Do you know why people?
And that's the reason.
Do you know why people buy pet rock? They buy pet rock to piss off people like you specifically.
And where's Pet Rock?
They will pay 25. There's a book out there. There's a book out there that was a New York Times bestseller.
Can we order a Pet Rock for both of these guys?
They don't exist anymore.
There's a book.
We'll find a limited edition one.
That's the point.
There's a book called Every Reason to Vote Democrat. Every Reason to Vote Democrat. It was a New York Times bestseller, and it's 50 empty pages. That's the book. It's 50 empty pages.
Was that a joke?
It's a joke.
I mean, don't bring that into your stand-up from last night. Bro.
Look it up. It's 100%.
Yeah.
It's 100% true. It was a New York Times bestseller.
Are you willing to buy a pet rock these days?
No, but
you just defeated your example. That's my point. Who the hell would buy a pet rock these days?
But I'll tell you
what,
I'd sell it.
Bullshit.
I'd sell it.
So what you're saying is
there's a market.
So what you're saying is, do you have some Dogecoin?
It sounds like he lost money on Dogecoin. Is what it is.
How much did you lose? Honestly, between us, just the three of us.
$10 million. I'm a little salty. But you had 16-year-olds just buying Dogecoin with zero.
You sound just like my buddy Justin, man. My buddy Justin is he is the #1 financial advisor in New Jersey. Won the award like 3 years in a row, right? And he says that because I get into arguments with him all the time. I was like, what backs the U.S. dollar? It's a fiat currency. The only thing that matters about the U.S. dollar is that we all think it matters. Bitcoin has the same thing. Dogecoin has the same thing. There's no functional difference, truly, between Dogecoin and the U.S. dollar anymore. There's no gold. There's no gold backing. And then Justin, to his point, which to your credit, Justin will be like, when Bitcoin has aircraft carriers, I'll buy Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing.
When Bitcoin has aircraft carriers, I'll buy Bitcoin.
That's right. Because what's the functional difference between that currency and our fiat dollar?
That is a very aggressive point of view. Comparing the actual dollar, the U.S. dollar, the standard for the world economy for the last 7 years to Dogecoin.
Be very careful what you just said. No, wait a minute. But of course, it's extreme. But remember what Dalio said. Ray Dalio said the U.S. dollar is on the verge of devaluation on a level last seen in 71, and that China is threatening the greenback's role as the world's reserve currency.
Well, we know what China wants to do. Surpass the United States.
Holy! By the way, Dalio is
a war on the U.S. dollar.
Listen, when I sat with Dalio, we did the interview. His entire publicist team was sitting behind us. Mm-hmm. We had a great conversation together. When it was done, I pushed a lot on the China topic. Okay. On the China topic, he was very careful on what he said about China, okay? Really? He was very careful about what he said about China because he does dealings with... Ray Dalio was very careful about what he had to say about China. When the interview was done, the publicist came and we talked about certain things, comments about certain people. Hey, we have to do this. I said, no problem. We accommodated, right? But here's the thing. If you would have listened to that interview then and you listened to the interview, what he said today, the position changed slightly because that interview was protecting China. This interview is saying Ray Dalio said the U.S. dollar is on the verge of devaluation on a level last in 1971, that China is threatening the greenback's role as the world's reserve currency. He wouldn't have said that a year ago when he and I sat down, which means what is happening recently, and I don't know if you saw what happened yesterday when Biden talked about the fact that they're doing their deep investigation into origin.
And 90 days.
By the way, that would have never been talked about come last year. Mm-hmm. The left and the right is aligned on one thing today, for the most part, except for John Cena, which we'll get to next. The left and the right is aligned on one thing right now, for the most part, and it's you better keep your eyes on China because they're not playing around.
Baby.
Yeah,
you just hit the nail on the head right there.
So let's talk about Kai. Can you watch all the super chats because they're coming left and right? And out. If anything you catch, just send me.
They're not. The barbarians aren't at the gate. They're in.
Of course,
the wolf is in the hen house.
Okay, so elaborate what you just said.
Well, you particular, you had a guest on about 2 years ago that really opened my mind to it, the 100-year marathon. And I'll tell you what, I was always a supply side guy. I was always supply side economics. I did not like Trump's trade war against China. I thought it was dumb. Who cares if...
You didn't like it?
No.
At that time or still today?
At that time.
Okay.
And I used to get into a big argument with my father about this because my father would I would look at, this 1980s jingoistic Reagan nationalism that he has, like America First and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't really care. I want $3 underwear at Walmart. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is good for the consumer. If we tax them at the levels that they tax us, our prices are going to go up. That's going to hurt our economy. We don't make things anymore. We're not a manufacturing economy. I had that opinion. And I will tell you, I was completely freaking wrong. I was ill-informed. I had no concept that China was responsible for 90%, 90, of the manufacturing of all of our pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. They could spike heart medication with fentanyl and kill 30 million Americans tomorrow. Like, it's a clear and present danger that we don't make this stuff. And it was short-sighted and frankly, greedy even to have that perspective that I had, and it was wrong. And a lot of other people had the same perspective as me. There's a lot of people that have said, Joe Biden himself, China's not a threat. They're our ally. Building them up. Like, we're still talking about them as if they're a third world country. They are not.
No.
They are
far
not.
From it.
They are a plantation. You have to understand, it is a plantation, and we have to look at it as such. They have more billionaires than anybody in the world. They have more people living under the poverty line than anybody in the world. This is owners and slaves, and there really is no other way to look at it.
The whole concept about rich get richer and poor get poor? Mm-hmm. China is the ultimate example of it because the separation between the rich and the poor is a lot wider than the separation of rich and the poor in the U.S. As much as in the U.S. we take shots about the rich is getting richer, poor is getting poor, it's a lot closer than it is both in India and in China. In India and China, the separation between the wealthy and the poor is very, very wide. Not in America. Yes, we have a lot of homelessness going on. Yes, we have things that's going on. One person being homeless is too many people being homeless. I get that. But what they do, the whole rich getting richer, poor getting poor, it's wider than anybody else. So John Cena, let's talk about what happened with John Cena. So John Cena, go to page 5. John Cena, who is loved, I would say he's adored, he's admired by a lot of people, okay? Wrestler, movie star, rock star, great physique. You know, he is in the camp of, what would you say, The Rock, Vin Diesel, put some of those names there, right? He's in
like,
that camp.
He's like Rock Light.
Yeah, he's Rock. He's
when you order rock on Wish.com.
Yeah.
John Cena called pathetic for apologizing to China over Taiwan's remark. New York Post story. John Cena was on the receiving end of a pile driver Tuesday after American Twitter users after his pathetic apology to China for referring to Taiwan as a country during a promotional spot for his new movie F9, Fast and the Furious 9. Cena, speaking Mandarin, went on the Chinese social media site Weibo Tuesday to apologize for calling Taiwan a country during a promotional interview for F9, the latest installment for the Fast and the Furious franchise. Earlier this month, the Chinese, who consider Taiwan a rogue province that is part of their territory, erupted in outrage at his blunder. And he said the following: I made one mistake. I have to say something very, very, very important now. I love and respect China and Chinese people. He didn't say I love and respect Chinese people. He said I love and respect China and Chinese people. I'm very, very sorry about my mistake. I apologize. I'm very sorry. You must understand that I really love, really respect China and the Chinese people. My apologies. See you. Pathetic, said Senator Tom Cotton's reaction to Cena's mea culpa. And by the way, a bunch of other people, even Keith Olbermann said stuff like, what are you doing? This was pathetic.
Keith
so
Olbermann.
Left and right, all over the place, they were not happy about what this guy had to say. But what are your thoughts about what Cena said?
All right, I'll go first. Number one, how the hell are there 9 Fast and Furious movies? That was the first thing that came to mind.
That's what you took
9.
away. I can see
There's
that
9
being
of
the
them.
first thing that you think
I'm
about.
like, all right, this is F9?
Well, 10 if you count Point Break, which they basically just stole.
All right. Well, anyway, that's just that's just
the
that.
real issue,
And
though.
don't get me, I
One too many
actually had a
movies.
really fun night with Vin Diesel one night. That's a whole nother story.
Oh, here we go.
Fun time in
here
South
we go.
Beach. Number 2.
He went to Djibouti with Vin Diesel.
Oh, there was some Djibouti
There
at
was
Vin
some
Diesel's house.
Djibouti
You
at
can
Vin
better
Diesel.
believe that. It was
Yeah.
a fun night in South Beach. But
He limped for
that's
weeks.
that. Number 2. I was going. You got to use one of those jokes on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
The fact that this guy full on speaks Mandarin.
Yeah.
So this was not some, hey guy, read this, attempt to read it. It was, you've been studying Mandarin. You've been realizing that you're going to start making money in China for the next decade.
Yeah.
Bust out that Mandarin you've been working on for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And just do your little mea culpa and actually put it to use right now. He's like, okay, I got this. And just did his thing.
Did you see what he looks like these days? When I watched that, and I posted this too. My first reaction was, this dude's angling for an Ernest Goes to Beijing reboot. Like, I was like, what the hell? This is John Cena. Look, first of all, if anybody out there is thinking of doing copious amounts of steroids for many years and growth hormone and stuff like that, John Cena is proof that just you can't ever get off of it. My God, if you're in forever, man. Because this dude looks like a wilted leaf.
Let's pull up a picture.
Have you
recently?
Have you seen him
Recently.
My God, look at
I
the
love
picture
the
they got
picture.
up.
Recent picture.
This dude. Those are all good pictures. You got to pick up the one do the video. He looks like Ernest, man. It's like insane. The guy went from like 30 to 55 in like a year and a half.
Kai, just go up.
Let's see the video, his apology tour.
Is it on his Instagram? It's not on his Instagram.
Dude,
Obviously, he's not
go
going to put
back.
that on his Instagram.
Go all the
He's
way
just,
up.
I'll
Just
tell
hit
you,
that first
look,
story, New York Times. Just hit the first story.
The big thing about this, right?
Go up. Keep going. Go ahead.
The
You gotta
big
see
thing
the
about
video.
this is it's not just John Cena. It's the alarming trend that Hollywood is completely owned by China. There's no Americans aren't going
well, I
to movie
agree with
theaters
you. If you would have
anymore.
let me finish my point, I would have gone there. But go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Take a car there instead of a bike. Let's get moving on.
Oh, we're going there. All right. Gloves are coming off here. Gerard Michaels.
Why don't you-
Gerard Michaels. We know who the real mother sucker is.
This
You're calling out John Cena.
7-minute monologue is brought to you by.
The bottom line is I do agree with you. Cena doesn't give 2 shits about Taiwan. He cares about China. He cares about money. And he cares about Hollywood. And he's been studying this for obviously years to learn his Mandarin. Go ahead.
I have your permission.
Yes.
Thank you.
The difference between income is 6 million versus 20 million.
Right.
So you do a movie and you're good with America only or the main countries that are, pro-Western US, you're making 6 to 10 million. Okay, maybe 15 million. But if you go US and you build up China, now you go from 6 to 10 million to 20 to 40 million. It's a different payday. It's like making 4 movies if you just get China in for making 1 movie. So it's mathematics out there
it's the
doing
math.
dollars.
So that's worth supporting an oppressive regime. I mean, I don't know about that.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just telling
Look
you,
at what
it's
LeBron
purely
and the NBA
monetary.
are doing. LeBron and the NBA are guilty of this. It's not just John Cena.
That's exactly where I was going with it. Daryl Morey supported democracy and free speech, and Mao Zedong LeBron came out and was like, "Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." And it's like, dude, like. Just imagine, at some point, you have enough money, you have enough followers, you have enough views. Something has to be about legacy at some point. You're going to die. You're not bringing the money with you, right? So would it put yourself in 19... Now, with your background, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to be, extremist on this, but put yourself in 1930 Germany, all right? And you say something about, I think what these guys are doing with minority communities and the Jews is just not right. And they, hey, you don't live here. How dare you? How dare you say something bad about the new regime? Hitler's bringing us out of poverty. You don't live here. Apologize. And imagine apologizing to Hitler because it's going to double your revenue. What the hell does that look like 100 years later? What's your legacy? Everything else you did before that does not matter. You're Hitler's bitch. That's all you're going to be remembered for. John Cena is Xi Jinping's bitch. He ain't a 10-time world champion, ain't a WWE. Yeah. He's not a movie star. The dude's a bitch.
Let me ask you a question.
Say it to his face.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think his move on what he did is done based on his own reasoning, or do you think
I already know where
he
you're
had a
going
call
with
with his publicist?
100%.
He had a call with his manager.
Number 2.
He had a call, and here's another one. Let me continue a little bit more. Forget about the publicist and the manager, right? If something happens to the comedy world, you may call your manager, you may call your publicist, but who else you're calling? Other comedians, other folks who have dropped the ball and made mistakes. Like if Bill Burr says what he said in one of the jokes he did, what was it? He was opening up for Oscars Academy. He was doing something, and he said something offensive, and he had to come. I bet he's probably calling Chappelle. I bet he's probably calling John. I bet he's probably calling a few people saying, hey, what the hell happened? What do I do here? And someone's going to say, screw them. The hell with them. Don't let the cancel culture scare the hell out of you. Maybe that's on the comedy side. Who do you think he called? Well, you think he called some notable names in the Hollywood world and says, guys, how do I handle this thing here?
On a much, much, much smaller level, I told you I left my management. I had a management company, and we had tours and everything like that. I left them because they were taking down videos I was putting up during the lockdown. They told me what I could and couldn't say. They told me if I continued to question the official narrative publicly that I was going to be taken off the tours. And I made the decision to say, screw you, I'm out. You don't get to tell me what I can and can't say, especially if I'm right. Especially if I'm educating myself on the topic.
So do you think he spoke to some people?
I think he got bodied like a bitch. I think he let people walk him into a corner. He didn't realize he's the star. He's trying to break into this, he wants so desperately to get into that studio system. And it's like, bro, like that, nobody's gonna care that you flexed on screen for 7 minutes in a Hot Wheels commercial.
Give another time. Give another time where this has happened. Give another time where this has happened. Like, okay, Daryl Morey. Yeah, I get what happened with Houston Rockets and LeBron came back and said maybe he made some emotional comments, and LeBron kind of defended. And that one meme with LeBron went all over the place looking like he's from China. Yeah. But go back, not even right now. Go back 40 years ago. Go back 50 years ago. Go back when Marlon Brando is winning the Oscar and he doesn't go up and he sends a Native American Indian actress to go receive, and she gives a speech. And go back years ago. What proof is it that this happened? Meaning, if today it's China, who was it 40 years ago? Who was it 80 years ago?
Russia.
No, it wasn't China 40 years ago.
Mao was doing some rough stuff, but there was no profit incentive.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to tell you is today, on one end, I fully get what's happened with a lot of these guys. They're sitting there. The manager is saying, look, I'm making 10% on 40 million or 10% on 6 million. The difference on a manager in WME or wherever it is what? $600,000 versus $4 million.
At least, yeah.
That's the difference between living in a $2.5 million home versus
And a
living in
one-bedroom loft.
versus living in a $10 million home.
Yeah.
That's the difference between your neighbor being executives in real estate and finance and
Shane
the difference
Gillis.
between celebrities being your neighbors. It's a different. It's a difference between being invited to a poker party of a bunch of guys that are doing well for themselves that no one knows about, but they're in the business world, versus being invited to a poker party Thursday night that's basketball players, Hollywood stars. So you don't want to give up that. Man, I'm no longer going to be invited to that cool party. The level of pressure of having to be included in that cool party, I think it's really hurting a lot of these guys. I will tell you, for me, to learn a second language is not easy. And there are a lot of languages you can go learn that's a lot easier than Mandarin.
Yeah.
You can go learn Spanish. It's easier. You can go learn French. It's easier. You can go learn Portuguese. It's easier. You choose to learn Mandarin, meaning John Cena's not a musclehead, big, buff, dumb guy. That's not John.
No, he's smart.
John is a very, very smart guy, meaning he knew when he made the decision to take this position, he processed it. He's not a dummy. He's sitting there saying, so I just think there was a level of fear from somebody that
There might be pressure from China itself. They might
say what,
send
though?
henchmen and say,
No, I don't know about that.
Oh my
I don't know about
God,
that.
yeah.
No, I don't know about that.
No, about
dude,
that. I think here's
I
my
don't know about
opinion.
that.
People's
I just-
Liberation Army is
Listen, I'm from Iran, man, and I know when that happens in certain countries, and I'm not telling you that. I'm not naive to
don't
not
think
believe it
that-
doesn't happen. I'm just saying I don't know it goes to that level. Go
Think
ahead.
about it. He probably asked himself something that
Yeah.
you've actually pretty much made famous. He asked himself 10 years ago, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? I want to be an action star. I want to be a movie star. I don't want to just be a wrestler. I want to make movies. I want to be famous. All right, what's the protocol then? All right, so you got to get into Hollywood. You got to start making movies. You got to be a household name. And then you got to get into bigger markets, i.e. China. And that's how you're going to make your money. All right, is that what you want to do? Yes. All right, well, you got to start learning Mandarin. You got to start doing this. You got to start doing that.
Do you
have a
think-
game plan in
yeah.
place.
Do you
So
think-
then when he pisses off Taiwan, you think he
Yeah.
gives two shits about Taiwan? At no point when he said, I want to be a fighter for democracy. I want to be a freedom fighter. I want to be Nelson Mandela. That's not who he wants to be. He wants to be a money-making Hollywood icon. And this is the path to do it. So he's setting on that course to be that person.
You don't think Cena has aspirations for politics or anything else?
I have no
long-term?
clue if he wants to be a
Okay.
politician or
Yeah.
not. But based on this answer
Yeah.
right here, he wants to be a movie star.
I think John Cena is very aspirational.
Well,
okay?
this just ruined all his political chances right
It depends. It depends how you look at it. It depends which party you're looking at. I mean, for sure, if you...
I don't care what party it is. They'll throw that.
It depends.
You just kowtow to China, you're done.
you-
If he wants to be a movie theater, a movie action star,
so
yes,
has
go ahead.
LeBron.
Eric
So has
Swalwell.
Biden.
Eric
So has- there's like a-
Eric
I can
Swalwell
give you
slept with a
100
Chinese
names.
spy and got reelected.
Yeah, I can give you 100 names. I don't think that's the route. Here's where I'm going with this. Look, the pressures of your long-term vision becoming a reality. The pressures of your long-term vision becoming a reality. Everybody goes to sleep at night thinking about somebody as a competitor. Almost, if you're competitive, right? Michael went to sleep at night thinking about who? You know,
Isaiah.
Magic, Isaiah, Bird.
Yeah.
You know, you can go through the list. Second round was who? Then you had Hakeem, Ewing, Starks. You know, people that got under their skin. Peyton. Everybody went to sleep thinking about somebody, right? Okay. Who do you think Cena goes to sleep thinking about? I think it's one name.
The Rock.
The Rock. I think he thinks about The Rock. I don't think he thinks about Vin Diesel. I think he thinks about The Rock. Because I think John and Rock are more similar than John and Diesel are similar. I put John and The Rock the same. So here's a guy that Cena's been in the shadow of The Rock for a long time.
He's
Let's
The Rock
face it.
light.
No, he's been in the shadow. But Cena sitting there saying, dude, I'm a pretty smart guy. And dude, I have a better physique. And dude, I got a better looking body. And dude, I'm better. He in his mind is like, dude, I'm better. I'm check.
He's comparing himself to The Rock.
Because when Will Smith, when Rock went to his managers when he was first coming up, they said, who do you want to be? He said, I want to be Will Smith, but bigger. That's what he said.
Who said that?
The Rock told his management team. He said, I want to be Will Smith, but bigger. I want to be bigger than Will Smith, but I want to be like Will Smith, but bigger. Manager's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just want to be like Will Smith, but bigger. So Cena, you don't think he sits in front of his manager and says what? I want to be ... but bigger. The guy's a competitive guy. So, okay, manager says, you want to be that person? Yes, here's a game plan. Exactly what you just said. Learn their language. Win the biggest markets. Do this, do that. And the difference between winning or losing China or India, who do you think it is? It's China. So I don't know what's going to happen with this guy moving forward. I do know he lost an audience, and it's tough to come back from this. But I think there's more aspirations this guy's got. that we don't know about. I don't know what that could be. I think this guy's got bigger aspirations that we don't know about. It just tells you the power of China, that China still wants to make the world think that Taiwan is their territory. Look at the power there. Okay, let's talk about U.S. new home sale prices fell 5.9% in April after big March gain. Go to page 4 on real estate. Let's talk a little bit of business here before we go back to other topics that we got.
Just more good news for the economy, guys.
Yes. U.S. new home sales fell 5.9% in April after a big March gain. This is an AP story. Sales of new homes fell a bigger than expected 5.9%, a drop that analysts blame in part on rising home prices. The median price of a new home sold last month was $372,000, up from 11.4% of March, while the average price of homes sold in April was a record $435,000, 8.7% up from March. It's insane how much this thing's going up. Just a month. This is not a year over year. This is a month. Economists said the declines in part reflected the headwinds presented by surging costs for lumber and supply chain restraint in obtaining such products as new appliances. But analysts said that demand for homes remaining strong, sales should continue to be robust. In the coming months, new home sales fell in every region of the country in April except the West, which posted a 7.9% increase. Sales were down 13.7% in the Northeast and fell 8.3% Midwest and 8.2% in South. So everything fell except for the West. Thoughts?
Well, where do I come from?
Jersey.
And where am I now?
Florida.
Like everybody else.
Yeah.
They have priced us out. There's no businesses. They're literally not open. They shut us down. I was held political hostage for 2 years with everybody else to feed the ambitions of a far left tyrannical government. And they've bankrupted people. They have, give you a perfect example, all right? It's not a lot of money, but give you a perfect example of how stupid, how moronic my area of the country is ran. Do you know what it cost me to leave my apartment in Jersey City and then drive out of the state down through Delaware to drive down to Florida?
Much?
What do you think it cost me to get out of my state?
To get out of your state?
To leave Jersey. Bridges and tolls.
Like a toll, okay, $20.
Okay.
You mean just in tolls? And what do you mean?
Yeah. What did it cost?
Paying for a
just
U-Haul?
just tolls.
$100.
Okay, it was $26.
Okay.
Do you know what it took me, what the cost was from Delaware to Florida?
$26.
$2.50.
Get out of here.
You didn't take the turnpike?
It was
You took
20.
95?
I took 95.
26 to
It
leave.
was 26 to leave my state, one of the smaller states on the map. $2.50 to go to the rest of the coast.
And that's a long drive, by the way.
Do you know how much it costs to go over a bridge in New Jersey to go into New York? $18 every time you go over.
would know the answer to that.
That's right. The bridge master himself. He shuts the bridges down though. He doesn't. You don't go over his bridge.
Gotcha.
You know what it costs to get on a beach in Jersey? They pay. You have to pay to get on a beach. It's $14 for the day. They own outside. The bridge is in the air. They own the air. They own the beach. They own your backyard. Why? Every day I was there, every minute I was in Brooklyn and Jersey, I felt like I was failing an idiot test. Every second I stayed there, I felt like I was failing an idiot test. And it's the worst feeling in the world because the people are the best people on earth. They're hardworking, they're tough, they're good-natured, the food's amazing, the culture's amazing. Half hour to New York, hour to Philly, you got the shore. Everything you ever want is right there, and they're pricing everybody out. We're leaving. We're 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, Jersey leads the country in expatriates. We're emigrating out. In Trump's third year, he had a record low unemployment, right? I believe it was
3.5%.
3.5%. Do you know what Jersey's contribution to that was? We lost 250,000 jobs.
Jersey lost 250,000 jobs.
In the most record employment of all time.
Wow.
Jersey lost jobs. We had 250,000 more people go on employment. That's Phil Murphy, and he's going to moonwalk into re-election. So everybody's leaving. It's a hopeless feeling. $1 million homes to pay 17% property taxes. It's insane.
What?
In Bergen County, 17% property taxes.
There's no way it's 17%.
Look it up. It's nuts.
Kai, pull it up. 17% property taxes.
Dude, they get you. They capped it at like 3%.
Which county?
And then so they cap it at 3%, right?
Yeah.
But what they do is they do a mandatory reevaluation like every 3 years.
Okay.
So they'll come up to you And you'll have like a little 3-bedroom ranch in Bergen County.
Yeah.
And they'll come up and they'll
Bergen County.
Yeah, and they'll say, congratulations, man, you got $1.5 million property. This is what your taxes are.
I see what you're saying.
And it's like, whoa, what? So do you want to buy it for $1.5 million? I'll sell it to you. No, go ahead. So when they capped it at 3%, all they did is just triple the price of everybody's homes. It was nuts, man.
2.18%, which is higher than most places. Type in highest property tax in America. Highest property tax in America.
Just do highest overall tax burden, man. I believe, if I remember correctly, the Pew Institute did a study, and essentially 43 cents out of every dollar in New Jersey goes to taxes. 43 out of every dollar earned. So you only get...
New Jersey and Illinois have the highest effective property tax in the country.
Yeah.
Highest property. And by the way, here's what's so funny about it.
What do you get for it? We get
to live in Jersey.
You get potholes, bro. Like, what do you get? Nothing. Nothing. You want to talk about a scam? Somebody who's running a freaking scam. Somebody who's the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. All right, it's $18 to go through the tolls. It's $18. You've been at the Hudson Tunnel. It's 17 lanes, 20 cars deep, $18 each, 24/7, 365. All right, they're trying to tell us that the transit fund is bankrupt. They don't have any money. They're pulling in $300 billion in tolls annually. Oh, no money. Don't know where it went. What? Huh? And nobody can check it because it's a slush fund. It's a slush fund. It's the New York and New Jersey Port Authority. So when you try to do an audit, New York says, oh, Jersey's got the money. Then you try to audit Jersey, you're like, oh, New York's got the money. Where's it going? Into the ether. And everybody's got to go through Easy Pass, which is owned by Xerox.
Okay, so what you're saying right now is you're specifically to one area saying that real estate in Northeast, obviously you're not optimistic about it long term of where it's at right now. You're not optimistic about it.
Especially because the city's going away.
Why is West doing well? West sales are up. Real estate. West. Real estate is up in the West. By the way, not a small number. It was a high number that everything else was down except for the West. It said,
where's in the West?
New home sales fell in every region of the country in April except the West, which posted a 7.9% increase. Sales were down 13.7% Northeast, 8.3% in the Midwest, and 8.2% in the South.
You don't need cities anymore, Pat. You don't need city infrastructure.
What do you mean by that? You don't need cities anymore?
It's an antiquated model now. I mean, think about it. If you are the type of person, if you're a freelancer, if you're a developer, if you're in software, if you're any part of the new gig economy, you don't need to travel into a hub location, go 80 floors up, work for Goldman, and then, be there one-on-one for these meetings. Now, there's always going to be something said for doing business one-on-one and having these interactions, having these conversations. But there's a lot of deadline-driven jobs now that you can do from anywhere. If you're a software developer, you can do it from Aspen and then go skiing, and then you can be in Malibu the next day and do it there. If you have a computer and if you have an internet connection, you can be at work no matter where you are. So why would you pay these taxes for proximity to the city? Now, if enough people do that, let's say even 10% of people are able to digitally commute and digitally work, what does that do to the ecosystem that the entire city is built on? What's that do to the pizzeria that's down the block that services these buildings? What's that do to the dry cleaners? What's that do to every single other runoff industry, right? What does that do? If you take 12 million people in New York, and they say it bumps up to 15 million during the day, and then it's 8 million at night. So New York City doubles between 8 and 8, right? People coming in, people coming out. What happens if those 8 million stay home? Now you got the highest real estate in the country. You're paying $32 a square foot. You're already charging $5 a slice. What are you going to sell $7 pizza? How you make that up? And then you talk about real estate. You got real estate investment trusts. We don't want to get like crazy deep into it, but real estate investment trusts, they're ruining everything. You have people who can
why do you say the REITs are ruining everything?
Because there's no disincentive. There's no disincentive to sell. There's no disincentive to adjust your market. So you can sit there and have an empty building.
Andy, send a text to Kai. Andy Driscoll, send a text to 310-340-1132. 310-340-1132. Andy sells cars in Bergen County, and he says he's right. Send a text to Kai real quick. We're going to call you up. Go ahead, keep going.
What up, Andy? Yeah, so real estate investment trusts, they destroyed New Jersey, right? So these large, massive conglomerates come in, and they can only rent out half their building, okay? Whatever capacity, but they rent it out at the top of the market. And then people buy into their package of properties that are priced at however many units at that price. So they're making all of their money in the trust sales. So they don't have to actually adjust to the marketplace and lower prices. So 8 million. So like everybody's leaving New York right now. Everybody, you saw the letter from the guy who owns the stand. New York is dying, blah, 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 blah. So you would assume prices would go down. Prices have not gone down because they don't have to. They don't have to adjust to the market. They're making money. They can take the loss, and they're making a ton of money off of selling the trust on the backside. So they've literally double insulated themselves. They've cornered the market.
What do you think about that? What do you think about what he's saying, and what do you think about what we just read about with real estate sales?
Well, number one, first and foremost, Gerard, you're gonna be okay, bro.
No,
I just want you to know that you're fired up about New Jersey.
We want to take the
New
tea.
Jersey.
It's time for the tea to go into the harbor, baby.
Yeah.
Tea to harbor time.
Gerard is on one right now, and if I lived in New Jersey over the last 2 years, I'd probably be upset like him as well. But I've been living in Florida and in Texas, so I got a little perkier demeanor than our friend Gerard. Gerard right here. Things are going to be okay.
The sweet taste of freedom.
Yeah, exactly. You're down in Florida now. Let the New Jersey keep Jersey in Jersey. I've noticed that everyone down here in
Let the
South,
boy leave Jersey.
Let the boy
let the
leave
boy
Jersey.
leave Jersey. So
Gotcha.
tell us.
I mean, we were talking about new home sales. I
Yes.
assume we basically just discovered everything we need to know about New Jersey in the last 20 seconds.
You just gave me a nosebleed.
You all right, bro? You're gonna be okay. You're in Florida now. Let's go.
You got
you're
tissue?
amongst us.
You bring some tissue for our buddy here.
Yeah.
Go, keep going. I'm listening
I
to you.
blew an aneurysm.
Throw it. Come on, we can catch.
Oh,
Let the boy
Edelman.
catch. We got athletes over here. I don't even remember what the hell the topic was. What I will say is that if you missed the boat on buying a house, just pump the brakes. You don't need to buy right now, okay? This is like basically trying to get in on Bitcoin at 60, and then 6 months later you find out that Bitcoin's at 35 or 40. If you missed the boat on trying to buy a house in most of the country, just pump the brakes and rent, okay? On the flip side, commercial real estate might be a great place to look into because commercial buildings are empty right now. So
Great time to look into commercial real estate for deals.
For residential.
For deals.
For residential,
Yeah.
it is a seller's market. Agree?
Yeah, what I
For
disagree is
residential.
that you think it's a bubble that's going to come back down. I don't think it is.
For commercial, it
You
is
don't
a
think it's
buyer's
going to come back
market.
down?
I don't.
You don't think prices are going to come back down?
Look at the price
By
of
the way,
lumber. Look at the price of materials.
there's a part of what he's saying that he's not wrong. The part that you may have somebody opposing argument to you is the fact that rates are going to go up.
Absolutely.
When the rates do go up, the only difference that's going to happen is the fact that your payment's going to be a lot higher. So rather than paying $3,000 for a mortgage payment, you may be paying $4,500, $4,200. You may even end up paying $6,000 a month for some kind of a loan you're getting. But there's a big argument right now being made that prices are not going to be going down.
And I'm sure there's a
Yeah,
big
a
argument
lot.
that prices are going to go down.
You're right, but I'm not a realtor, so I'm not even a realtor that's saying this to you. What I'm saying to you is there's an argument right now being made on
I
this side.
guarantee you our realtor friends are telling us it's a great time to buy
They're
right now.
going to tell you that
guarantee
because
the
that's
realtors
what they do.
Are saying it's a great time
Andy,
to
I'm
buy.
calling you. I'm calling you.
Just like the stock market enthusiasts are telling you it's a great time to invest in the market. Andy, pay your phone bill, buddy.
I can't.
Andy, I
He's
swear
got
to God,
property
if your
taxes.
phone-
He can't
He's
afford
in
that.
New Jersey.
This is what I'm talking
Afford
about.
his freaking
18 months as a
phone
political hostage.
This is
They shut him
ridiculous.
down.
He's paying $18 tolls.
This is the arrogance. The arrogance of the left over here. Just like, you didn't build that.
Okay, he just paid his phone bill.
Andy.
Andy, how you doing, Andy?
Andy, fine and dandy.
So, Andy.
Good, how are you?
Good, man. So you selling cars. What kind of cars you selling in Jersey?
We sell Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram.
Hey,
Awesome.
man. I got myself a Jeep Compass, bro.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Route 18 Jeep did a good job. They must be your competitors.
Yeah, definitely.
So you heard Gerard say a bunch of things about Bergen County. What can you tell us about what's going on in Jersey, and why are you still there?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. It's a great answer, actually. I'm not living in Bergen County.
Okay.
I work in Bergen County.
Commutes
I live
from
in Hudson
Pennsylvania.
Valley, New York.
Okay.
I commute 45 minutes to get there.
Interesting.
We don't know why, but in the last year,
Yeah.
for some reason, COVID hit, and all of a sudden, we're selling more cars for higher prices than ever before. Obviously, supply and demand.
Used
affects
cars?
that.
Used cars?
But
It's called a
these
stimulus check.
people are begging to pay over MSRP. It's an affluent area. So me trying to buy a home closer to work has been a fail because of everything he's saying. He's exactly right.
Can you unpack that? What do you mean by that? You've had a hard time buying a home because Because what? Because everybody's overbidding? Because people are willing to pay more?
Yeah, I wouldn't even look on the Jersey line. My whole family's from Jersey. My father, moved to New York 30 years ago, rather, and 36 years ago. But, I wouldn't even look on the other side of the Jersey line because I already know the taxes, it's expensive, looking in a 40, 50-mile radius because I'm already commuting 45, 50 miles to work from New York is a better bet than buying a house anywhere in
Can
Jersey.
You think about that? Now, Andy, let me ask you this, and you can chime in as well once he's done. Why are people staying in Jersey? Or are there a lot of conversations maybe you're having with your family where people are saying, look, Andy, we're thinking about leaving this place, and they're saying we may move to ... So why aren't people leaving? And if they are, where are they looking at?
Most of my family, older aunts, uncles, grandpas, they already moved to Florida.
They already moved to Florida. Got it.
My dad just went to Florida to visit his sister, and that's what happens, every few 6 months.
Those are the retirees, but that's nothing new.
Exactly.
Old people moving to Florida is not breaking news. But young people is different.
Well, now they're charging us to leave.
So,
$18.
So now what's happening is, as far as who's not leaving and why they're not leaving, mainly I would say that because the people that are either renting homes have kicked their rentees out to then sell the home for an overpriced value, or vice versa, the people that were living in their homes can now rent them or split them up and rent them because prices are so high that now it becomes a secondary or a third, income. So why leave if you own a home and you can sell it for more or rent it out rather? There's so much money being made in the like you always say. I listen to you guys all the time. There's more real estate agents than homes. I mean, it's absolutely just ridiculous. And the housing market and the car market and what's been going on, especially in that area, it's just a proof of that. It's just proof. People are literally paying more than ever before. We're making the same amount and more, record-selling months, month after month after month, on less units because of the supply, demand, and the
dude, they're doing this on purpose, Andy. They're doing this. This is a plan. Patrick said it. You said it before. If the government wants the market to move in a direction, it has ways of doing it.
Based
right?
on taxes and regulation.
How many times in the last 2 years have you heard "build back better, build back better"? Build back better. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
You will Davos, right? Bill de Blasio has said his biggest regret is allowing private property in Manhattan. He thinks the government should be the real estate agent of New York. Pull up affordable housing. Kai, if you can, pull up the map of affordable housing in Manhattan. Pull up the map of government assistant housing in Manhattan. It's the entire island. The entire island has some sort of subsidized housing.
Well, we all know in New York, the rent is too damn high.
It is. And why? And why? That's the problem. Why? The entire island is affordable housing. The entire island is subsidized housing. That's all government subsidized property right there. That's guaranteed money. Okay? So when I go back to the REITs, they got guaranteed Section 8 housing. That's paid up front by the government to the real estate. All right? Up to whatever market value is. So there's no incentive if people leave to lower the rates. They set the price, the government pays the price, and then the rest of the building is empty, and they use those units to sell on as part of their REIT package. So the middle guy in the middle, the everyday person, we're a schmuck. And why don't you leave? Why doesn't anybody leave anywhere? Like why are people still living in Afghanistan? Like I don't know, man. Like this home. It's home. You don't want to leave your home.
Are you too good for your home?
No.
Go to your home.
You don't want to leave your home, bro.
It's comfort. It's comfort. It's lifestyle. It's tradition.
I just want to get my 30 seconds of fame and thank you guys because I want to tell you this is very important to me. I've been listening to you, Adam, everyone on the show for the last 6 months. I worked all the way through the pandemic at the dealership. Right now, instead of buying a home, the last 120 days I've been doing as much research as possible into crypto, into investing, making sure that I have my money away for that when Adam, I agree, the market does dip that's when I'm going to capture some sort of deal. But I am definitely not buying a house anytime soon.
Smart
Not
man,
with this
Andy.
market. I
Well,
can't pay
smart
over
man.
a sticker. I just don't see it.
Save
Well,
that
much
money,
love
Andy.
to you, man. Much love to you. We're glad we had you on, buddy. Take care of yourself. Good having you on. Take care. Bye-bye, bye-bye. All right, there you go. Good. So another Jersey story right there.
Good
of
guy
a
right
person.
there.
Yeah, to hear
Good
what
guy.
it's said.
Good
Yeah. That's
He's a good
Jersey
guy.
folks
He's a
for
good
you.
guy.
That's
New
Jersey
Jersey,
folks
yeah.
for you. By the
But
way,
he's
here's
living
what's
in
crazy.
PA.
Can you pull up the picture about Chicago? Can you pull up the picture about Chicago? Because that's one of the markets where real estate's not doing good. I want to show what you texted us today.
Yeah.
Okay, the image of that. While he's doing that, go ahead and give your thoughts on Jersey.
But real quick, it's not a Jersey-specific story. Why did you leave California? Why did Elon Musk leave California? Why did Joe Rogan leave California? This is not specific to Jersey. This is a
There's no
corruption on the
about
coast
it.
problem
we
here.
never talk Jersey until you're here because
Yeah, we've been
Jersey's
talking about
close to.
California
We've been
and
talking
New
about
York
California and New
for
York.
a
We
year
haven't
now.
talked about Jersey, and it's not even. Kai, pull this up real quick. Pull this up real quick. Go to the image. Right there. Make it a little bit bigger so people can see it. And Sam, let's flip on that, please, so they can see this. This is not 16 hours ago, but this is yesterday. This is Gerard sending this to us from Chicago Police Department. The new foot pursuit policy, scheduled to become effective June 11th, is designed to keep both officers and members of the public safe and balances the risk of engaging in a pursuit with the need to apprehend the individual. Details in the press release. CPD foot pursuit policy. CPD, Chicago Police Department. For the first time in Chicago, there's a formal policy that includes the following provisions. Department members are required to balance the risk of engaging in pursuit with the need to apprehend the subject. Officers and supervisors will not be disciplined for deciding not to engage or continue a foot pursuit or for instructing that a foot pursuit be discontinued based on a reasonable assessment of an incident. Let me read that one more time to you. Officers, cops, and supervisors will not be disciplined, hence punished, hence fired, hence written up for deciding not to engage or continue a foot pursuit, meaning if there's a crime, they will not be punished if they don't continue and pursue the individual for instructing that a foot pursuit be discontinued based on a reasonable assessment of an incident. There will be specific prohibitions to foot pursuit. CBT will not pursue for an offense is less than a Class A misdemeanor. Traffic offenses do not disregard, endanger the safety of others. If the immediate need to apprehend the subject is not worth the risk to responding officers, the public or the subject, officers will not intentionally provoke flight to justify a pursuit. Mandates the after-action review by CPD, Chicago Police Department, of foot pursuits. How do you read this? When you read this, what does this mean to you?
What does it mean to me?
Yes.
It means Chicago's playing by GTA rules. It's GTA 6 Chicago. You punch somebody and you run and they can't chase you. What cop in the world would chase you? So let me get this straight. If I don't chase the guy, I face no discipline. But if I do chase the guy, I have a mandatory after-action review. That's what we call disincentive. So what's a Class A misdemeanor? Aggravated assault, battery, domestic battery, criminal battery. Okay, cool. So this guy could steal your car in front of you, and you could be like, officer, he's stealing my car. And the officer's like, yeah, but he's driving away. Sorry. Sorry. Hey, this guy's robbing my store. You think you can do something? Has he started running yet? Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, I'll write a report. This is insanity. It's insanity. This is crazy.
How long before this gets changed? Because you know a lot of these states, they come out with this defund the police, and the next thing you know, the other day, this guy's talking about defunding the police, okay? While he's doing, I don't know if you saw this or not, while he's doing an interview, he's a, what do you call it? One of these correspondents. He's in the streets.
Yeah.
He's doing an interview. Well, you know, the whole idea about the city trying to be more responsible with defunding the police. In the background, you hear, ta, 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 ta. And you hear the guy saying, hey, call the cops, call the cops. Like, what are you talking about? It's caught on national television.
That was Minneapolis. That was at the George. I know exactly what that is. That was the George Floyd.
Hey, it's like this.
Yes.
So how long do you think this is even going to last?
I'd love to ask.
How long is
I
this
would love
idea
to ask.
going to last?
I would love nothing more than to ask Mayor Lori Lightfoot, but not being a person of color, I'm not allowed to. She's only taking interviews from people of color, so maybe you can get her on the podcast, Pat, and ask her, like, hey, so you think it's a good thing to apprehend criminals or not?
What
not
are
really?
the chances? If you were to play Vegas and if you were to gamble, what are the chances of the mayor wanting to come and be a guest on Valuetainment?
About the same chances of her waking up one day and not looking like Sid the Sloth.
Got it. So that's by the way, it's creating content for when he does stand up. But
Yeah.
if you're listening to this and you're watching a podcast, if you're from Chicago and you didn't know about this, and you just read this, what is your reaction to this? If you're from Chicago, you're hearing this. Adam, what are your thoughts on this?
So who would implement a law like this? Is this actually the...
This is the fourth largest city in America.
No, I'm saying, is it the Chicago Police Department that sits down and says, look, we got to make some changes?
Oh, you're saying who came up with the idea?
Yeah, who come up? I assume they had a voice in this.
Of course.
I assume they had to sit down and said, guys, what can we do better? Is it? I don't know if this isn't the mayor saying you guys should do this. This is Chicago Police Department.
This is coming from the top down.
I don't know. This just screams de-escalate the police, something that I've been talking about for a while. Defund the police is a horrible slogan.
So you're actually
votes.
for this?
I'm not for this, but I am in favor of de-escalating dangerous interactions with the police. So what is an example of a Class A misdemeanor?
Includes aggravated assault, battery, domestic battery, criminal battery, and amongst others.
I think ultimately what I'm reading from this, if there's some bullshit crime going on, I don't know, how
your
bad
car is getting stolen.
It's a pickpocket. It's a your car's going stolen.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Right, we don't need a high speed.
Let's not chase them down. Why? It's only 40 grand. It's only $100,000.
Somebody's throwing a Molotov cocktail in their store during a riot.
There's bigger things in life than a $100,000 car.
I do agree. There's bigger things in life than a car.
So let the guy steal your car.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
why not.
We'll get the helicopter. They'll come over. They'll fly over. They'll find the guy.
Somebody's taking a bat to a school bus.
Wow, buddy.
It's fine.
This is coming from a guy who's a
Chicago-
minimalist.
Don't want to bother the
If you
criminal.
stole my bike,
God
we got
forbid.
an issue now. You stole my bike. We have an issue. I'm
So
chasing your
if
ass
somebody
down.
steals your bike, you want the cops to chase him down.
I'm chasing
But that's
him
a great point, though.
I'm chasing
That's
him
what's
down.
going to happen, especially in Chicago.
Yeah.
They're going to look at the cop and they're going to be like, "You going to do something?" Be like, "I don't know, buddy." And it's going to be vigilante
Look,
bullshit.
I don't know exactly what's going on in Chicago. What I do know is that it's constantly referred to as Chirac, and some shit needs to be changed there. So whatever they've been,
a lot of friends in Chicago.
whatever they've been doing,
Bro,
it needs to be changed.
there's
I
a
have one friend in Chicago. His name is Matt Sapala. I think you just put him on the streets, he'll clean that thing up in an instant.
there is a very popular show that tracks Detroit and Chicago criminals called First 48. And the whole premise of the show is that if you don't catch somebody within the first 48 hours, you don't catch them.
It's in Miami too.
They gone, boy.
Yeah.
So now, not only do you not catch him in the first 48, you got to give him a head start.
Bro,
Like-
but that show is solving murders, not someone who pickpocketed you, okay?
Bro, what about the
First 48, they're not like, today we had a
This is
pickpocket
nuts.
incident on the down streets of Chicago. We've got all the detectives on the scene.
This is
they're
like
going to find
the
out
people,
who stole this guy's
the
wallet.
Dude, this is
They don't
just
give a
like
shit about
this
that.
is just like
Find
the
out
people
who committed the murder.
This is just
Find
like the
out-
people on
find out
Twitter.
the serious crimes.
The people on Twitter, when that guy in DC died, when those two girls were trying to steal his car, they were like, "Why didn't he just let him take the car? He died. It was his fault." It was like, what? You blaming the victim for his own death? He was getting carjacked.
By the way, you know what's the problem with this with me? Okay, what is the basic foundation of capitalism? What is the basic foundation of free enterprise? What is the P word? What's the basic
Personal property?
Property.
Yeah.
Property. Okay, and property back in the days when powerful people tax, government would show up and say, "This is officially mine. You no longer have this place. It's mine." They bullied you off the streets and you're left and nobody could say anything about it, right? You mean to tell me that car is someone's property? Somebody comes and takes it and cops are not going to protect the person that owns that property? That car is someone's property. It's someone owns that. Someone's paying the bill for that. The moment I lose the safety net of making sure somebody can't just come and take my property, what the hell am I thinking about? Look, years ago, I bought a book. And I went in this whole books I was buying about how to start a country, okay? And one of the books was for adults, another one was for kids. I had my kids read this book, How to Build Your Own Country, How to Start Your Own Country. And you know what the most basic foundation of a country was? You know what's the first thing when families back in the days were thinking about going to another country to raise their kids and family? You know what's the first thing they thought about? Was what? The S word. What's the S word?
Security?
Security. It's the first thing they're thinking about is security. When you don't have kids, you don't think security. When you have kids, you think security. One night, Jennifer and I are living in this place in Northridge off of Encino Boulevard. She would remember this. One day, I park my Range Rover outside, not a gated community. I go to sleep. Never owned a gun before. I mean, I was in the military. I had M16. I had saws. I had all this other stuff that was in mine. Go to sleep. Wake up in the morning. I'm going to work. Windows shattered. They took my backpack. They took my stereo system, and they took a, you know what? The first thing I did is I went to a gun store. I bought a Glock. I bought a shotgun. Came back. I told the guys, we're not living here anymore. I went to a local gated community near a safe place, and I'm moving to that place simply because of security. I travel a lot. I don't want my family to be unsafe when I'm on the road doing other things at the time, right? Okay. This doesn't scream security. This, a mother of 4 is sitting there saying, what if they take my car and my daughter is in there, my kids are in there, and somebody is in, what if my son, there's no security there. There's an element of this where the government's not doing their job to protect the family. If there is certain things we pay taxes for, right? One of the things we pay taxes for is to offer me what? Security. This is a scary thought what they're doing. And what's funny about this is I don't think this is going to last a long time. I give this 6 to 12 months. And I think the people in Chicago are going to flip out and they're going to notice either an exodus taking place or they're going to get rowdy. And once people get rowdy, people are going to change their positions. This is not something that's going to work. No one's going to go model after this. But if you model after this, it's another. You think you're hearing exodus in New Jersey or New York or California? You're about to hear a different exodus from city. You don't, by the way, you don't hear during the pandemic. One city didn't get a lot of shot taken at them. It's Chicago. Chicago was kind of under the radar. Chicago gets the shot at what? Number 1 in homicide, number 1 in shooting, number 1 in all this stuff that they've been leading for how long now?
Yeah, forever.
Forever, right?
Chirac.
But I think this could really piss off the wrong people. This is 24 hours ago that they announced
this
put on your other hat.
Just real quick.
Why are they doing this?
I'll tell you why. That's where I was going with this. This screams from a guy who was in an administration. This screams political bullshit. This screams to me setting the groundwork for her in a year from now being able to grandstand on lower crime rates. I reduced crime and blah blah blah. Look at crime was X and now it's 20% lower. It's not 20% lower. You're catching 20% less people. People are stopping. They're not calling the cops on things. You're disincentivizing. All you're doing is you're disincentivizing people to work within the system. I'll tell you something else too. I call this over there progressives. That's who I call this. These are over there progressives. They're very very progressive over there. Like, oh yeah, you know, people are impoverished. You hear it in New York all the time now. People are impoverished. If sex work is real work. If she wants to be a prostitute, let her be a prostitute. And yeah, as long as it's over there. But if prostitutes start walking down your block, all of a sudden you're going to be like, well, we probably don't need prostitution in my town. Oh, you know, that's something for New York. That's something for the progressives. Let them have all the drugs they want and the prostitution over there. I'm very progressive. But then they go to their home, which is all white and gated. You know what I'm saying? Like this goes back to what I was talking about with you the other day, where people, you know, all these, you know, especially these rich white liberals bother me, man, because they sit here and they treat other people like they're pets, like they're plants that need to be watered. Like if it wasn't for us, how could these people possibly survive? You know, and then they're the ones who put their windows up when somebody else comes by. They're over there progressives. They're the worst human beings on earth, man. And this is the type of stuff where they're like, oh no, let them, you know, let them get away with it. But then let that happen to them and see the shit that they would do. Let this come to their block in the suburb 20 miles outside the city and watch how quickly they'd be at the town meeting. Awkward
you were going to say something. You sounded like you're going to say something.
You don't think prostitutes are in nice neighborhoods too? They just do it a different way. They're not slaying a pussy on the block. They're dressing up a little nicer and they're being a little classier.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could do a tutorial on it.
You don't think in Boca that there's some high classier ladies of the night that are just kind of doing their thing?
How does one come to acquire this knowledge, Adam?
I mean, when you moved here from Jersey, I'm sure you've been here 2 weeks. I'm sure you've been approached. You dress nice. You dress in you roll up in your nice Jeep. They see you.
I look like I'm in the market.
You show up in a
anybody
Maserati
here from Chicago, former PD. Anybody that's on with us is Chicago, former PD. I just got a bunch of comments. Josh is. I know he's from Chicago, but I'm looking at seeing if somebody is a. I saw Josh's comment. Josh from Chicago. Cops can't do anything. No, former PD.
Oh, former
They've had a terrible time during the past. Sad stories, liberal governors, and still trending. Marvin just gave $100. Holly says, Pat, CPD, Chicago Police Department, National Guard, at times are all over the streets of Chicago, especially on the south side.
Yeah.
But they are very selective on who they charge. Not every major crime makes the news. It's very easy to buy off the adrenaline. The adrenal for protection. It's
they're out there looking for MAGA hats and nooses and Subway sandwiches. You know, they got to keep the streets. They got to keep the streets.
Sommelier.
Shout out to Juicy.
Juicy, sommelier. That's a different story right there on what's going on there. Yeah, you know, you asked the question. You said flip it. What were you going to say? Flip it as what? Flip it as
why would they do something like this?
Yeah, because it's the level of sensitivity. Like they're so worried about walking on eggshells, offending the wrong person. So they're doing something like this so they don't get the harassment charges and the, people online talking about what's going on. Like right now, here's one thing I can't stand that's happening in the NBA. Oh my gosh, it's driving me nuts. So Kyrie Irving goes to Boston and he said, well, the people here are just, I can't say, it's just the people here. It's just, everybody's a professional victim right now. And then Russell Westbrook yesterday gets pissed off, fan throws popcorns at him. Okay, I get it. Fan threw popcorn at him. I would lose my mind if that were to happen to an athlete. Like he lost it. I showed the video yesterday. I'm like, of course. What the hell are you doing throwing popcorns at the guy? There ought to be a reaction to it. 100% opportunity automatically. LeBron jumps in, race baiting. Hey, protecting this. It's the cities you're playing in. It's the cities. It's Philadelphia. It's Boston. It's this. Knock it off, man. You're just dividing this thing more and more. You're adding fuel to the fire even more than what we already have right now. So
it happened in Philly. Philly threw batteries at Santa Claus. You're getting mad about freaking popcorn?
Philly fans
They gave a standing ovation to Michael Irvin when he broke his neck.
By the way,
exactly. They're the most disrespectful people on earth.
What's the city Bill Burr went on where he trashed them for 20? Philadelphia.
Yeah,
there you go.
Worst.
So the point is, listen, if you can handle it, handle it. You can't handle it, don't handle it.
We're talking about popcorn? Popcorn? We're getting mad about popcorn now?
This goes back to this goes back to what I was talking to you last night, man. I am so freaking sick and tired of the repentant rich. I'm so, if I gotta hear that freaking that ginger nerd from across the pond cry one more freaking time about how hard his freaking life is, Prince Harry and the princess Meghan
Markle.
If you're a billionaire, literal prince and princess, and you can't be happy, the rest of us should just kill ourselves. Like seriously, like what? Why are we doing this? If they can't be happy, what the hell are the rest of us even doing? Shut up and buy a jet ski. Like shut up. Like do something. Like go good. Like my God Almighty.
Are you going to take your Meghan Markle poster down, or are you going to keep it up?
She's a babe. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, just
do?
shut up. If I got to hear LeBron James complain one more time, LeBron James sent out a tweet. He just don't get it, bro. He surrounds himself with bad people, man. He's got too much.
You think he's changing?
He's got too much Minister Farrakhan in his life, bro. Hell yeah, dude. The great minister has deep inside of LeBron, man. And this is a dude talking about privilege, bro. You were born 6'8". 250 pounds. You might be the single most athletic human being to ever walk the face of the earth. Some would say you were born with privileges. Some would say he had a rough go. He had a rough go of it growing up for like 11 years before he became a millionaire. Like the dude that was an AAU millionaire at 14 years old. He's been a millionaire for longer than he wasn't. This guy is the very embodiment of, and the thing that bothers me probably more than anything else about the repentant rich is they act like they somehow were good enough to beat the system, but nobody else is. Nobody like AOC when she goes on her tirades about how the system was set up so that people would. You're 30. You're 30 and you're a member of Congress. You are the very proof of what this country offers. You are the walking example of the beauty of our system. Shut your freaking mouth, you morons. They're so invested in the profitability of victimhood that if I got it, Leo, I love his movies, but he, like you said, they get on the Oscars, and here you are. You're the most beautiful people on earth, making the most money you could imagine, doing a job that we all want to do, right? Think about how easy it is to be an actor. You don't have to write your own words. Somebody else writes their words, and then they have to memorize the words somebody else wrote, and they're not even good at it, so they have to have a director to tell them now how to do it 20 times, and then they get an award for it. It's like a puppy. Sit. Oh, you sat down. Yeah, here's a cookie. That's what actors are. You know what I'm saying? And we got to sit here and we got to live. Well, we're destroying the world. We? What's this we bullshit? I took the train this morning, Leo. You took a private jet. You. Say you. You know what I'm sorry. I'm going on again, but
keep going, bro.
There's a lot of truth behind. By the way, there was an interview with Denzel, and the guy's talking about, how hard life is as an actor. He says, our job is not hard. We are the luckiest people alive. We don't have a hard job. So let me tell you, when I started working, I was a trash guy. That's what Denzel used to do. He was a trash man.
From the Bronx.
Is what he did. Yeah. He used to go pick up trash is what he did. And the guy's like, Larry King's like, you're kidding me? He says, no, that's what I did. He says, my first job was, and then they were talking about who they were and what they did at one point. He says, what I do for a living making movies, this is a joke. This is not work. When I hear other actors complain about the fact that we have such a hard job, we don't have a hard job. We don't have something challenging that we're facing here. And this is coming from who? Denzel, maybe one of the most liked actors out there on both sides. And he kind of keeps it to himself because he knows if he says anything politically. One time a guy asked him a question. He says, so who did you vote for? Have you seen his response to that when they said so?
No.
So Denzel, did you vote? I did. Who did you vote for? And he pauses for 2 seconds. None of your damn business.
Really?
He said, none of your damn business, Denzel said. And you see people saying, oh, okay, I'm just wondering. People want to know. No, people don't want to know. It's none of your damn business who I voted for. But I voted for somebody.
They don't want to know. They want to judge.
Of course, because I mean, if a Hollywood actor tells you none of your damn business, who do they vote for? You just have to know what that means. I don't know if you understand. You told the world who you voted for. You voted for whoever your party, your community wouldn't be happy about. Hence, you don't see, you know, some of these guys like Denzel getting as much of the spotlight. And Denzel is Denzel. He gets the spotlight, but not at the levels of some of the other guys do. But anyways, I know you're a diehard Leo fan, and I know you're a big Merkel fan, and I know you're a big fan of those guys. So I'm glad you were able to share your love with the rest of the audience.
Megan, if you're listening, we apologize. Everything's going to be all right.
And if it doesn't work out with the Prince, Gerard Michael's a single.
He's true.
Yeah, he is singles, and he's single. And
hey, you know what? If you're with that Prince and he don't bench 400 pounds, you're single to me anyway, baby.
That's a big deal.
What
you bench 400. That'll get you a princess.
Okay, so let's talk about Tesla and their 1 million trucks that they've already sold. Go to page 2. Page 2. Check this out, folks. Tesla has over 1 million Cybertruck reservations. Unofficial tally says Fox Business. An ongoing unofficial crowdsourced tally managed by Tesla fans estimates that over 1 million people have put down the $100. He's one of them.
Kai, pull up a picture.
Fully refundable for the electrical pickup.
Fully refundable.
Less than a week after the Cybertruck's reveal in November 2019, Elon Musk claimed that the company had received 250,000 reservations. Musk said that he estimates output by Cybertruck's Texas factory will be 250,000 to 300,000 annually. The first Cybertruck deliveries are scheduled to happen in the end of 2021, according to Musk. But high volume production won't begin until next year. The starting price for the pickup was $39,900 for a rear wheel drive model, but that configuration won't be available until 2022. The tally suggests that just 7.5% of the reservation holders have chosen it, while the $49,900 and the $69,900 dual and tri-motor models currently make up 48% and 44.5% of the mix, respectively. 1 million orders.
Ridiculous.
That's insane. What is 1 million times $40,000, Kai?
And you're one of them.
I'm one of them.
From what I understand.
I'm one of them, yeah. I only need about another 199,999 to go, and I got it. But I got it reserved.
It's $40 billion right there.
You got to buy a ticket.
$40 billion.
$40 billion right there. If they only bought it at the model $39,000, okay, if they buy it at the 50, that's $50 billion. You're talking about a $50 billion check right there, okay? $50 billion check right there too.
So, imagine if Elon Musk was good at business.
Gerard, I know that you're one of the guys who put down $100.
Yep.
Refundable.
100. Yep.
Walk us through your process, how your mindset.
Honestly, man, I'm just a massive Elon Musk fan, and I support. He supports me culturally, and I support him financially. That's the trade-off.
You're not mad at him about all the crypto ups and downs that he's done over the last month?
He put Bitcoin on sale for me, man. Like, I'm not mad at him at all. Anybody who's really into crypto is anybody who's actually been doing this for a long time. We've become, you cannot kill that which is already dead. We've become numb to the dips, brother. You know what I'm saying? So we don't panic and sell anymore. We look at a big dip like this and we say, ooh, it's on sale. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to get Sam to give me next week's check early this week so I can go blow it all on Bitcoin. But I don't think Jen signed off on that, but she
didn't sign off on that.
I don't think she signed off on that.
Well, it leads me to my next topic. We might need to renegotiate my contract over here, motherfucker. I heard that you did do pretty well this week.
Adam somehow does an impression of me that makes me sound like I am a 65-year-old black lady from the South. So I do appreciate that.
So you're Lori Lightfoot.
When's the last time you did stand-up?
I'm looking at you and him at the same time.
Stand up.
2017.
Oh, you haven't done since 2017.
Yeah.
I told him I'd get him 5 last night. He was too good for the room, bro.
No desire.
He was too
that
good for the
room
room.
was a shit show.
It was a shit show.
I would not want to do that room. I would do.
This was
the bigger thing is when's the next?
It was
time
great. These guys came out.
You're gonna do stand up.
You're the professional, and no
No,
one's ever paid
that's
me
the
to do
No,
that.
we got to
Professional.
do events. We
That's
got to
the
do
big-
events.
That's a different
How about
story.
the big thing is you got to ask your people, when do they want to see a live recording of the podcast?
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, who would want to see a live recording of the podcast? I have a feeling, we got some ideas that's going to be launched here pretty soon that they'll know about, but we may do something here. I mean, obviously, we're working on a couple big projects. When it does happen, we'll announce it to them, and hopefully, we will do something, maybe a live podcast here soon. So, other stories we got going on here before we wrap up. Let me see which one I want to go to. Do you guys have any one of them you want to go to? Pick one of them. Amazon is acquiring MGM. Let's go with that one right there. Okay, Amazon is acquiring MGM, the studio behind James Bond and Rocky, for $8.45 billion. This is a Business Insider story. They said on Wednesday that it would buy Hollywood giant MGM for 8.45. Amazon acquisition of MGM studio could mean a big expansion of Amazon's Prime streaming inventory to include MGM's big name movies and TV shows. These include the James Bond, Rocky, Creed, Pink Panther franchise. That's big for Adam. I know you're a Pink Panther guy. Alongside
Pink Panther.
Legally Blonde, A Star is Born. Its TV shows include Handmaid's Tale, Fargo, Shark Tank, Real Housewives. The real finance value behind this deal is the treasure trove of IP in the deep catalog that we plan to reimagine and develop together with MGM's talented team. Mike Hopkins, Senior Vice President of Prime Video and Amazon Studios, said in a press release, the sale to Amazon is a stunning finale for a studio brand that a decade ago was deeply in debt. MGM sold to Sony and a group of investors, including private equity firm Providence Equity, for $3 billion plus $1.9 billion in debt back in 2004. Not bad for MGM, but also a big play for Amazon. So what's Amazon doing with this? Are they planning on competing and going directly with Netflix? Is this a Disney
Competing,
thing?
that's
What
a
are they
takeover,
doing?
yeah.
What do they want to do?
It's exactly what they want to do.
Is it a takeover? Is it competing?
Well, don't forget Amazon. If you Kai, go to this website real quick. RELENTESS.com. Relentless.com.
My favorite part of that is that you didn't think Kai knew how to spell relentless.
He's struggling. Where does that lead you to? Amazon.com. I'll said it before and I said it again. Relentless.com will take your ass right to Amazon.com. They have no intention of stopping. There's another story on here that they're basically competing with CVS and Walgreens because they're opening up pharmacies.
Yeah.
They're coming after movies. They're coming after pharmacies. They're coming after anchor stores in the mall. They are coming after every single thing out there. Jeff Bezos just bought a $500 million yacht? The money is nonstop relentless. So now let's talk about this MGM play. Are they going to try to compete with Netflix? You betcha. Are they going to try to compete with Disney Plus? You betcha. Also in the news, you got Warner Media and Discovery and the HBO thing. So in my mind, all these big, massive companies are just the rich are getting richer, the bigger getting bigger, and the people that have power getting more powerful. Last thing here with Amazon going Hollywood. Don't forget what happened during the pandemic shutdown. All the movie theaters got closed, right? Every single one of them. But basically, it solidified that these streaming services can just go direct to market and roll out movies. Amazon saw that and said, bingo, let's just get in on that play. And that's exactly what they're doing.
I agree. They were competing with Netflix anyway already. They were already ahead of HBO Max. They were already ahead of Disney. Now this takes them to another level. Don't forget they have streaming rights to the NFL. They have streaming rights to Major League Baseball. They're doing something which I think is brilliant with those streaming rights. Is they're going to have multiple different options for watching the games. They're going to have an all-female only crew. They're going to have a young crew, an old crew. So you're going to be able to choose the people that are commentating the game that you're watching. You're going to have multiple different options. They're going to have the director's view where you can see everything at once. So I mean, they're really innovative. And if you want to learn more about Amazon and Jeff Bezos, you can check out a show called Before They Were Billionaires on this channel called Valuetainment. A very, very handsome man in an ill-fitting suit did a great 5-minute segment on it. You should check it out. But the bigger question is, what's it going to take for us to break up Amazon? Like you said, they're gobbling up everything. Well, if your daughter decides to do a lemonade stand out front, Jeff Bezos might put an offer on it. So I mean, at what point do we need to look at this the way Teddy Roosevelt looked at the robber barons, the way that the tech giants have completely cornered our society, the way that Carnegie and Rockefeller did at the turn of the last century, and say, all right, this is This is restricting the marketplace. These guys are too big, too powerful.
You know, one of the stories we didn't talk about last time that we had on here, Kai, was the Apple story in Fortnite. We may have talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about it. Okay, so Apple and Fortnite. So Fortnite's argument is the fact that what percentage of app sales are right now being done on the iOS? What's the percentage, Kai? In the 80s, the number is astronomical. Okay, go look up, percentage of app sales, iOS, Droid, see what control Apple has, right? So Apple's saying, hey, Fortnite, you can't be on, you're off because you found a creative way to not pay the 30%, right? That's the whole challenge between Apple and Fortnite. What's the number? I'm actually curious.
The App Store monopoly.
I want to know how much iOS controls. Android eyes go down a little bit. The other way. Yeah, Kai, you were like literally right there. Go slightly down.
Oh, now we got the box.
Slightly go down right there, a little more right there. Okay, Androids are running 111 million now, 2024, 65%. I'm trying to find out what's the difference. 71% of total app revenue in 2020. iOS generated 47.6. Google Play made 31.9. Okay, so it's relatively close. iOS is 111 billion dollars. So 65%. Okay, 65% is Apple. What's monopoly? Isn't monopoly 54%? Isn't there
it's 70%?
Okay, so 65% is Apple, right? Okay.
Kai,
so,
check what a monopoly is, the percentage.
Yeah, so you look at companies like this. You look at what Apple's doing. You look at what Amazon's doing. You look at how you're saying how soon you break them apart, right? You get them to break up.
75%.
At this point of the game, it's 75%. At this point of the game, even 65%. Well, how the hell do you compete with that?
Yeah.
How does a smaller company come up and compete with that? You got 65%. And they get to tell you no. They get to say, no, you can't do this. So now, and Amazon can say no to you as a customer because they have AWS, the best hosting service. Amazon can say, we're not going to sell your book. Amazon can now... The level of control and influence with someone like this is the one part where Bernie Sanders makes an argument with some of these bigger companies.
And breaking up these big monopolies.
It's one too many. Okay. It's one too many. So who's next for Amazon?
You put your career on the line. I was there for it. You put your career on the line. You were the very first person. You beat Rogan to it. You were the very first person to have Alex Jones on when he was deplatformed. And you put your whole
on 9/11.
You put your whole YouTube channel up in the air for that one.
Well, oh, sorry. I didn't want to cut you off. But you brought up the point that I'm trying to make right now. Yeah. Amazon policy punishes consumers, DC sue claims. So the District of Columbia attorneys are actually going after Amazon for antitrust grounds, monopolies. It illegally raises prices. This is already happening.
Yeah, and it goes beyond that.
Click on that story.
It's one thing about price gouging. It's one thing about market control. Another story we're not going to get to today is that Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, they basically got Facebook to admit that they are stratifying posts based on political. They're aggregating posts and then they're stratifying their algorithm based on political affiliation. So they're literally suppressing viewpoints. All right, and now as a private company, right, nobody's going to tell you what to do with your companies, and I get that. But at some point, when there's only 5 companies and they collude together, you are creating an environment where now all your information, your entire zeitgeist, is controlled by 3-4 people. And again, that's where someone like you is so important. Something like Valuetainment is so my to have an independent voice, to be able to question authority, to be able to speak truth to power. But then, I mean, dude, you could wake up my page got demonetized. I told you, I woke up one day, I posted the wrong comment, I sent the wrong video, and I woke up and they were like, boop, your page has been demonetized and your reach is restricted.
How many times were you warned before it happened?
It's 3 strikes.
So you were warned twice.
But here's the deal: I was demonetized for the truth. I didn't say anything that was untrue. And
I'm not saying what you said was right or wrong.
But what I'm saying
is, give you fair warning.
But if they give you fair warning, what does that mean? If I give you,
I don't know. I'm asking
if I give you fair, like, if you weren't warned,
if
I give you fair warning and I say, Adam, if you keep sitting there, I'm going to punch you. Adam, if you keep sitting there, I'm going to punch you. And then I punch you. Did you do anything to deserve getting punched? And I can be like, well, I gave you fair warning. What are you supposed to do? Get out the room?
Well, the only argument there can be made is if it's in your house.
Not that I would ever do that. I'm just saying.
If it's in your house and you tell them, leave my house, leave my house, leave my house, punch. Meaning, the argument, like I talked to Sue and
what
Dennis
if you bought
Prager.
The whole block?
I talked to Sue and Dennis Prager. You know who they are, Prager University. And I talked to them when they were suing YouTube, and they were going back and forth saying the fact that you can't do this because it's freedom of speech and all this, First Amendment, all this other stuff. They said, The lawyers didn't go on their side, and they have strong attorneys. Sue herself as an attorney. They said the argument was what the U.S. what U.S. stands for with freedom of speech, our First Amendment, has nothing to do what private companies and public companies have to do.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want to do. Meaning, if they don't like what you have to say, they can do that. You have no say. You have to play by their rules. That's kind of where they are today, what they're doing today. So whether that's a good
Which is
thing,
why I think the monopoly needs to get broken up, because there's nowhere else to play.
Which I believe, like what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, I'm talking to a guy named Daniel who came here from Costa Rica to have me on his podcast, and he says, what do you think needs to happen long term for free thinkers like yourself to be able to stay, relevant and all this stuff? I said, listen, here's how the war was won, okay? And it's still going on. The battle's still going on, but you got to give props to Democrats. A ton of props to these Democrats, right? How was it won? Okay, you can go all the way back. They say Woodrow Wilson is the time where the school changed from what it was to what it is today. And that was 100 years ago. 1913 is what? 110, 107 years ago, right?
Factory workers.
Yeah, exactly. So you go back to that and you say, okay, so Republicans were like, hey, we're going to go own real estate. We're going to own companies. We're going to own oil. We're going to make money. That's what we're going to do. Leave us alone with the money. When you think oil, you don't think Democrats. You think oil, you think Republicans. When you think military, you think Republicans. When you think there's certain things that you think, church, Republicans, you go there, right? Okay, and church was a big influence to have.
Is.
It's not as much as what it used to
Not
be, but
as
it's
much,
a lot. It's a lot of influence they had, right? Okay, so Democrats behind closed doors says you can have that. We'll go win over colleges, universities, school, curriculum, books,
ideology,
and then they said we're
Social
also going to go own social media, newspaper, magazines. I'm telling you, guys, I was a big, just 6 years ago.
It sounds like it's old school versus new school.
6 years ago, I made a video talking about the, what business magazines I read. And I went through them. I no longer buy Money Magazine. I no longer buy Fortune Magazine. I no longer subscribe. I mean, I went through a list of
Financial Times.
Don't waste your Financial Times is decent. Yeah, I went through a list of them and I no longer purchase any of these. I bought every single month they came out. I bought them. Right. I no longer do. Why? Because the articles are being written by journalists who have never ran a business and never made the money, and they're just kind of giving their opinions based on what they think is the right thing, and they're bashing rich people. They're bashing the dream. The dream of being financially free is being bashed today.
Yeah.
Like it's a bad thing. There used to be a time you're like, oh my gosh, look at that guy. He started as a nobody. Now he's got a nice house. He's got a nice family. He's made the money. He's traveling the world. He's going to the games. He's sitting next to, oh man, one day I want to be. But today that person is, I don't want to tell anybody that became successful and I went from nothing to somebody, because if people find that I have money, oh my gosh.
They pull down statues.
Yeah, so,
we don't build statues anymore.
No.
We pull them
it's
down.
the complete opposite. So here's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is long term, I said to him, if these guys bought LA Times, they bought Money Magazine, Forbes was a, capital. It was the last standing magazine that protected capitalists, sold to China, 95%. Only 5% is owned by the Forbes family. This was an incredible business magazine. I would have bought a Forbes type of a brand, but at this point, you think the Chinese media company is going to sell Forbes brand to anybody else? No. If you make an offer for what it's actually worth, they're probably going to ask you much more if you want to pay for it. But so they had the opportunity to buy
you were
Twitter for
$6 billion,
weren't you? Years ago. They had an opportunity to buy Twitter. They had an opportunity. Every one of these things were for sale. YouTube were for sale. All of these things were for sale. They didn't buy it. Republicans said, no, we're going to go buy oil. We're going to go buy this.
They were asleep at the wheel.
They were asleep, and they lost influence, and you got to give props to whoever wins. You can say whatever you can the time that Mayweather won the fight where Victor's looking this way, and boom, he punched him and knocked him out. And it's like, what are you doing? You shouldn't have punched. He says, listen, once you say go, it's fight. So Mayweather just capitalized, and today Republicans are sitting around saying, we lost influence. What do we do next?
It says a lot that the smartest political move the Republicans have made in the last 20 years has been to shut up for 100 days and let Democrats talk. That's it. People are finally starting to listen to what the left is saying. Whoa, this is crazy. This critical race theory stuff is insane. This is nuts. And it's really an indictment of the Republicans that the best argument that they could make is just to stop talking. That's it, and even now you got Marjorie Greene Taylor out there, and the entire media wants to put the lens on that. They're going to turn her into the right's AOC, as if she's somehow representative of the group as a whole. But they lost. You're spot on. They lost a culture war that they didn't even recognize was happening. They lost a culture war that they didn't even know. They were so far asleep at the wheel. They got so old and so complacent. And again, I think those same people are doing this with Bitcoin again to bring this full circle. But they lost a war that they didn't even recognize was happening.
Well, that's when you see a picture of like Trump standing around 400 old white men, and that's the Republican Party. You're like, well, I don't know if that's the best approach. And now you have people like Candace Owens or like Charlie Kirk, or you have younger people or Tim Pool or whoever you want to put in there that are like speaking out and being more vocal.
The big Tim Pool's a great point.
That's the problem when you have just the male, pale, and stale crowd giving everything that they have.
The new Republican
party.
are people who left the Democrats. That's their big thing, right? Our big thing, like I'm a libertarian, right? And our big thing is, the left did this. I left the left. I started as a Democrat in college, and then I met Democrats, and the performative nature of like the hardcore left. I was just like, I'm not gonna hold hands and block traffic. I'm not gonna you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
with you.
if those are me, then I'm not them. And it's just like, where's the moderate anymore, man? Like, thank God for Joe Manchin. You want me to say something good about Democrats?
Don't even get me started on Joe Manchin.
Joe Manchin is the most important man in America. No one even knows his name. This guy has. This is going to sound extreme.
To be the man of the year, Time Magazine man of the year.
This guy has single-handedly held our union together. If he would have gone party line and D.C. would be a state and they would eliminate the filibuster and they would have eliminated the Second Amendment, Florida would be a country right now. Texas would be a country right now.
Let me ask you a question.
He keeps the union together.
Let me ask you a weird question. How much longer until we hear about something he did 40 years ago with the girl?
Right.
How much longer until we hear 9 women coming? How much longer until an email from 17 years ago? How much longer until?
It would have happened already.
No, I don't.
No,
I disagree.
It's going to happen towards the midterms.
Give it
It'll happen towards the
2022.
midterms.
When's the first time you heard about Joe Manchin?
Through you.
Yeah, I've been talking about that guy for years.
I knew who he was. I'd seen him on TV, but you were a big Manchin guy, so I started following him.
Because at the end of the
even
day,
more.
people who have common sense and they don't just say, I'm a leftist, or I'm a right, I'm a Republican. He's a Democrat in freaking West Virginia.
Yeah.
The reddest state in the country.
Look at what they did to Tulsi Gabbard, though.
And he continuously gets elected.
Look at what they did to Tulsi Gabbard, though.
Well, we'll find
Look
out
at what
in
the left
12
did to
months
Tulsi
what happens
Gabbard.
to him.
Look at what the left did to Tulsi Gabbard.
He should have ran for president.
Look, the entire universe is
Tulsi went
clamoring
after
for
Hillary.
common sense. The entire universe, Kamala, she should have ended Kamala Harris. She basically did end Kamala Harris, and then they just
revived her.
Yeah, I don't even know
guys,
why.
We got to wrap up. I'm getting text messages because we got 11 o'clock meeting
right.
here. Gang, here's what I want to tell you guys if you're listening in. I'm going to send you my Twitter account. I want you to go tweet at me with PBD Podcast. This is what we want to do. There's a lot of you guys that send messages that had opinions about Bitcoin. Whatever it is that you want to debate, next time around, send a tweet at me, PBD Podcast hashtag. We will follow it next time when we do it. We'll probably pick and choose some people from the Super Chat community and bring you on if you're confident to debate a topic that you want to come and share your thoughts with. Like last time we did with Stephen and Nas, we will do that. Also, I want to remind everybody that on, anybody that creates the logo for PBD Podcast, we're open, we're looking, we're designing some here internally as well. But if you submitted yourself or another graphic designer, we're going to show it to the crew. Everybody's going to be able to vote for it. And then at the end of the day, we pick one. If we pick one that you created or somebody you know created, $500 bounty is going to be given away for whoever comes up with the PBD Podcast logo that we end up using. With that being said, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll do it again next Tuesday. If you enjoyed having Gerard on today, click that subscribe button. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.